Philadelphia Fusion keep their playoff hopes alive with a 3-1 victory over the LA Gladiators. And we'll see how that pans out from a map differential standpoint as the week winds down. Up next, we have the Florida Mayhem going up against the San Francisco Shock. Now, the Florida Mayhem, they've been doing pretty well lately. They won 2 of their last 3 matches, and they made some changes behind the scenes, and it's equated to more wins, and I expect to see a lot more wins to them. They've become a stronger team over the last week for sure. And as far as the San Francisco Shock goes, they're adding a lot more electricity to the lineup today because you guys might remember this guy from the Overwatch World Cup. He goes by the name Sinatra. He's gonna be making his debut tonight. I think the Blizzard Arena likes that. How many Sinatra fans we get out there? Quite a bit? Quite a few. So guys, let's not waste any more time and get right into this next one.
Blizzard Arena, the night is young. Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Chris Puckett at the desk. We've got the full crew for this match for you. We got Crumbs alongside Reinforced, Zoe back with us once again. And already, we are having an interesting day. Gladiators Fusion. Well, you chose the wrong team there, so what happened?
What? What are you talking about? I always believed in the guys from the Fusion. They have fed me, they have put clothes on my...
Carpe, say Carpe, say Carpe.
Yeah, Carpe was great.
Yeah, Carpe. You saw it coming the whole time. All right, here's a look at how it's played out so far. Fusion gets the best of the Gladiators, keeping the Fusion in the playoff run. The rest of the matches for the day, though, it's about the big picture. Who can add more match wins in that column? We're going to see the Dragons in their new faces going up against the Outlaws. But first, we've got the Mayhem taking on the Shock. Make some noise if you like these two teams. They're on the up and up for Florida. You've won 2 of your last 4 for the Shock. Well, you got the guy you paid $150,000 to sit on your bench. Sinatra is finally playing today. But let's start here with the Shock squad. All eyes are going to be on Sinatra. What are we looking out for as the analyst desk, though, when you're looking at the San Francisco squad?
Well, we know that Sinatra is going to bring in some Tracer play, right? That's what we know him for. But the interesting thing here is that Tracer, while it's very important as a hero in the Overwatch League, the San Francisco's issue has not been the Tracer role. So what is Sinatra going to bring to the table when it comes to improving this lineup? We have yet to see, but this guy has been heralded as an almost prodigy status, so we really could be in here for a treat.
I know a lot of people are looking forward to that Sinatra-Sabiobi matchup back at the World Cup. Today, we get to see who is he going to be facing from the Florida Mayhem. Let's talk about the pressure, though, for this guy. He just turned 18 on Saturday. He's finally old enough to play in the Overwatch League, and he's got the NBC nightly news crew following him. Everyone in the audience, whether they're cheering for their hometown squad, the LA Gladiators, or the Valiant, everyone's cheering on Sinatra. Everyone wants to see him succeed. What does this feel like as a player, though? What is the pressure coming in?
I mean, there is a ton of pressure coming in, right? I'm not sure I would be able to handle it, but knowing Sinatra, he's not the type of guy who would falter for the pressure. He would probably embrace it and just play according to even better perhaps, because we know this guy is a fantastic player, right? So maybe he just takes it on and performs even better. But as you said, Tracer has not been the San Francisco Shock's issue, of course. So going into this matchup, who knows?
Tracer's not the issue.
No, definitely isn't. At least not for this team. Now, when I did catch Sinatra earlier today, I did talk to him about the pressure coming into this. I did ask if he's nervous at all taken to the stage with all eyes on him. And he said it's not much nervousness, but he does feel that pressure. For weeks and weeks and weeks, everyone has been going on. Every time the Shock lost, everyone was just like, oh, but Sinatra is going to come in and change everything and is going to make that team win. So that is a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Now, when I talked to him about the Tracer role in specific, and I did ask him, can he go toe-to-toe with the best Tracers in the league? He said he definitely matches up exactly the same like every Korean Tracer in this league. Now, how many non-Korean Tracers do we actually have in this league?
I mean,
Houston and...
Houston has 3, dude. So, there you go.
So he can compete with the rest of the Tracers
That's
in the
right.
league.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see
Logic
where
and
he
Houston.
ranks at the end of the day against those other Tracers. That's the big key for me. Now, remember, the Shock, they still got faces like Super coming later. Today is Sinatra's day, though. We get to watch him in his debut. Enough about the Shock. Let's talk about their opponents here briefly. We got the Florida Mayhem. They're coming off big wins. They've taken down Dallas. They've taken down the Valiant. They split 2-1 against the Gladiators. We've seen Zappis in the mix for this squad. What has changed in this team? How have they turned the corner? Because if you look at their stage 1, it was abysmal. This is the best they've looked now here in stage 2.
It really is. Now, you just mentioned Zappis has been one of the reinforcements coming in for this team. But on top of that, they also got a new assistant coach in Ryder, who is now with the team also. When I talked to what kind of implementations he brought to the team and what else he brought anyway, they said that it's not really new strats or anything, but it's this like additional set of eyes, which really helps them to split the focus. They're now actually cutting down on scrimming time in order to do more VOD reviews and have one-on-one time with the players. And that's obviously helping them a lot.
Yeah, it's about working smart, not hard.
Johnny, have you seen any playstyle improvements from the Florida Mayhem? Because they're still running kind of the core 6.
Yeah, well, I've actually spoken to Tvik, and the insider info is that actually Ryder asked the Florida Mayhem to play a bit more aggressive, of course. So Swoosh, famously being a bit more of a passive defensive Winston player, I would like to say. But he, as recent, I mean, Swoosh has been a standout player for me on the Florida Mayhem squad. And Tvik with the Dragon Blade and the Sombra play alongside him. Logic's turning up as well. So this is a more aggressive Florida Mayhem squad, similarly to what we saw in Contenders, right? So with this coach, I think they've improved massively. And who knew, you know, an aggressive Winston was all Florida needed all along.
Well, that allows Logics to really shine through. And last week, when they played on all their games in Hollywood, they were subbing Logics out. He was on fire. And I was really wondering, why are you subbing the guy out when he's doing so well? Well, we actually got to know some transparency out of the team. Manatine comes at us with a tweet explaining how in Hollywood, they just weren't that comfortable playing that. So they might as well try something new. And it is really great to see that. But for all you fans out there that would like to make these Hail Mary claims before knowing what's up, you don't know what's up. These teams know what they're doing. So just respect what they're trying to do.
All right, we'll see what they're trying to do. Manatine thought the triple tank would work. It looked like Logic's on Widow was working pretty well. Hopefully we'll see him for game number 3. Keep Logic's in all series, Florida, and you got this. It's time to kick off the match. Are you guys ready? Make some noise. We got San Francisco Shock going up against the Florida Mayhem.
Very early to Swoosh. That's a huge kill to start this off.
Sleepy with the kill right off the bat.
Tvik is absolutely cleaning up.
Dante and Baby Bay are on the point right now.
Florida did not fall for that trap.
Oh, Sleepy, he was ready that time. Florida Mayhem have done it. That's a crucial team fight win for San Francisco Shock. Oh, boy.
Let's bring out our first squad. Please put your hands together and welcome the Florida Mayhem. Shock fan getting high fives from the Florida Mayhem. I love it here. Swoosh leading the charge. And if Florida is going to get the win today, they need this man to stay aggressive, follow up, and pick up the kills.
Yeah, but it has to be said, right? Since they've started winning, they haven't done any walkouts.
Yeah,
what's up with that?
I miss the old Florida. That's what we knew them for. They're all cheery. Now they take themselves seriously because they're good. So we're so conflicted.
I mean, at least they're entertaining in game, right? So now they have something over.
I am a little bit bummed out here. You are sporting the stash. Where's Tvix?
Well, you actually can see it. You gotta use your zoom in. So if you're using a phone, you might be able to actually expand.
I think it's a color contrast problem here with the yellow in the background and everything. It's a bit hard to tell. I'm pretty sure he's making an effort. Now, talk about making an effort. Yeah, he's
Tim's got it for you.
Starting to kind of rock a stash. I'm also working on mine. It looks similar to what they have going on at the moment. Now, yeah, I think one of the things which changed is they used to take to the stage in a confident fashion in terms of like their entrances and stuff, but they lack that confidence in game. That swapped. It's literally the other way around this time, and I do like that.
I like the new focused Mayhem. When you're looking at this lineup, give the new fans one guy to watch, Crumbs.
It's Logics. I mean, if you like what Carpe did, you're going to love what Logic's going to do.
Love it. Tracer, Widow, all day, baby. That's a look at the Florida Mayhem. Now it's time to introduce their opponent. On the right side of the stage, we have the San Francisco Shock. All eyes are who is coming out of that tunnel with Sinatra. Is it Baby Bay or will it be Dante? Sleepy, the support, leading the charge. Nevix right behind him. We got Moth in the mix as well. And it looks like we're going to see Dante, the second DPS. What does that tell you?
Dante, indeed. We would have expected Baby Bay to come in, but you got to remember these two guys are incredibly flexible players, and they can play Genji, so now you have dive as an opportunity for the San Francisco Shock, something that we didn't previously see.
Yes, and we also, I think this means we'll see some more Genji. We spoke about Dante. He can play a decent Genji and a decent Sombra, and Sinatra on the Tracer, I mean, that's pretty much a certainty, of course, but this might we see a more aggressive look coming out of the San Francisco Shock. There he is, the man himself, Mr. 150K.
Yeah, I did actually ask Sinatra prior to the game if this is going to make it a little bit competitive between him and Dante, like who gets to play the Tracer. And he said that he actually expects both of them to be fielded most of the times because both of them play a really good Genji. That's his words, not mine. And he also said that their Tracer is kind of on par next to each other, so they can swap around however they want, and they choose to actually use Baby Bay whenever a Widow, McCree, or a Soldier map is calling for it.
And that's great. That's the attitude you need. It's a long league. Having somebody that can take your spot when you're not feeling up to par makes a big difference for your own well-being.
A big debut for Sinatra today. I just looked up in the skybox. All smiles from the San Francisco owners. Today, will they get the win or will Florida play spoiler? We're about to find out. We got Mr. X and Uber on the mic.
Thank you very much, Puckett. It's hard to stray away from this kind of story now.
Yeah.
Sinatra, it's been a long time in the making. A player that was picked up right at the start of the San Francisco Shock's tenure in the Overwatch League, and now the first time we get to see him almost halfway through the entire season.
It's been a while. We had a lot of fun watching him during the Overwatch World Cup. I'm excited to see him come into the San Francisco Shock lineup. I think it changes a lot of things, though. The desk kind of talked about it. You know, you had some very good DPS players on the lineup. You bring in Sinatra, right? They're going to bring in Architect eventually as well. Volskaya being map number 1. So I think you see Dante and Sinatra here because you want a Sombra and you want that Tracer at the same time. Potentially you could run Genji Tracer as well. And then I think, you know, you could see Sinatra, you know, maybe if they want to run like something like a triple tank, right? Either of them could play Azaria, Sinatra, or Dante. So you do have some options here if you're the Shock.
Yeah, that Zaya is actually one of Sinatra's pockets as well. We did see back towards the World Cup, and again, it gives the Shock another dimension to work with. And then obviously Baby Bay waits in the wings as well. The Farah, Widowmaker, definitely 2 big specialist picks for him. And again, another team now with 3 competent DPS players that can rotate through. Love to see it.
Yeah, I think anytime you want a 76 Widow on the map, or even like McCree, right? Any of the hit scan heroes or Farah, that's when you'll see Baby Bay. Anytime you want like a Junkrat or, you know, maybe like King's Row, right? I think Dante still plays on King's Row, you know, Junkrat on the defense, you know, maybe Azaria on offense. A map like this, though, definitely fits towards Dante and Sinatra, I would say Hanamura as well. It looks like at the start, potentially going to see Dante running Sombra here. Still some time, obviously, a ton of time to make some changes. But I know we talked a lot about the Shock. The Mayhem, they've been on a little bit of a tear as well lately.
Been a big improvement from them. Last time these two teams went head-to-head, it was the San Francisco Shock, but it was way back in Stage 1. Much has changed since then, and we can see for San Francisco, no surprises, Matt. We actually do see that, you know, the Sombra Tracer combo. The Ana for Moth here as well, so he and Sleepy probably play fairly close together for the most part. Sometimes we see defensive teams want to play the 76 in this setup, but defensive Sombra, super interesting.
And when do you, if you want to switch off of Sombra at point B, you know, who changes here for the Shock? Like, what do you go with? Does Sinatra go to like a 76 and Dante take over the Tracer responsibilities, or do you have Dante like go to Genji and play just a dive on defense? It's things we'll find out as we watch the Shock play. It'll be the Mayhem on offense here to open it up. They pretty much have the standard of what you see now in terms of the standard comps that we have. They're going to try and get that high ground on the left-hand side, get Logix in a position to make a play.
Well, Dante's already dropped into the back, so this is going to force Florida to sort of move up in some way or another, which again is probably what the Shock are looking for. Sinatra's waiting for that hacked health pack to respawn, very quick, of course, on those mini healths. And Tavic's sitting back by the gate. Sinatra's zoning him off, you notice now he's going to wrap around the backhand side. That was a good bionic grenade thrown down by Moth. Found Logix to start with. It did lose Dante to Tavic, though.
Yeah, Tavic hunted Dante down all the way back by the health pack, closer towards point B. Sinatra putting some shots into Zupe, then going to back himself out. They still do have, you know, those health packs hacked here by the point, so they're still, you know, able to use those health packs, gain Dante some ult charge towards that EMP, which he's coming back off the spawn. So that kill from Tavic, you know, bought them some time to engage. Now that it's all gone.
That's going to be an EMP step forward here for Dante. Madison seems to be the first target for him, though. Quick rehack on the health pack, and you can see that the Shock are really playing around these hacks as much as they possibly can, using them as staging grounds here. Sinatra may have been slightly caught out. That's a lovely little blink out. Madison can't pursue. Dante jumps back to his health pack, and the Shock are looking very hard to get a grip on.
It's been very weird throughout the beginning of this game. We've only seen a kill from either side. Now we're going to see a Transcendence here from the Florida Mayhem. Open things up. It's going to be a Transcendence in return here for the Shock. Tavicto hits a pulse bomb on Amal.
Not bad, Manhattan also getting almost DC'd by Sinatra. The damage was there, and now the job will be finished. The self-destruct for Manhattan wants to return to his Meg post-haste. And Nomi to drop onto that mega health pack. Despite all of this, the Mayhem still making very slow incremental progress, should I say. But now, the Shock have been pushed off the point. It's unlikely that Nomi can do much about this.
Yeah, the Shock back all the way out. It's a good push here from the Florida Mayhem. They did end up using their Transcendent Sleepy uses as well. A nano boost also. Zupe getting closer towards another Transcendence as they go towards point B. It's going to be Logix with this Tac Visor. Can you get him in a good position to make a play with it?
Can you deal with them? It's all the big body of Nomi. Logix would like to probably play for a bit of a flanking position here. They're going to get jumped on. He actually avoids the EMP. This would be a great time to go for the attack. Break the bubble down, and he's good to go. But no, Nevix is also there. So all those defensive abilities have been used, and Logix just goes for a tumble up the edge. And they're all done in that fight. Very, very quickly, they decided the fight was over.
2 EMPs from Dante thus far, 8 enemies EMP'd, getting a lot of nice value. That time, they're trying to wrap around towards that left-hand side. No, maybe go all the way on a flank. I think the play there was Zebosai was going to speed boost him, try and get all the way onto the bridge and to the back by the point. Get on those supports. See Dante in there just farming up some shots, getting closer towards another EMP. Look at this, 94% already.
I mean, we've seen this from Dante time and time again. Pretty much every fight is now, we're starting to expect that from him. Good peel there. Nevix going straight for Swoosh. Swoosh realized that he was going to be jumped on in no time, and Sinatra springs forth. Swoosh is taken down. There's a pulse bomb here for Mr. 150k, but he'll hold it for the time being. Manhattan was bionated. Sinatra avoiding a pulse bomb and has dropped out in the entrance. That's a stick. Transcendence is there. Unfortunately, it's not a target with less than 400 HP, so he's still going to get the blown up. And now Sinatra just dances around. There's a self-destruct over on the point here for the Mayhem, but no one's really there to collect it. One tick is all they'll be leaving with.
And you know what's interesting here, Mitch? We haven't really kind of talked about it that much, but you know, Logix playing the 76, Tavik playing Tracer. We usually see them switch roles like later in the series, like the second half we usually see them switch, especially on like more Widowmaker maps.
For that Route 66 especially.
But this is a map that if you were going to play this combination, you would think you would have Logix on Tracer, right? Like one of his best, you know, probably his absolute best hero, and then Tavik on 76, which we've seen him play very well in the past.
It is an interesting decision. Generally speaking, given that we'd expect Logix to be the pick for Tracer out of the two. But Scrims may have yielded some different results or different signs. Notice that Moth here is just trying to make sure that he can land a big Bionade as he does. 3 people healed up, allowing Sleepy to deal with Logix pretty comfortably. There's a nano boost here as well. Likely that gets given over to Nomi here. Gonna allow him to really farm up that Primal Rage if he wasn't already there, which he is.
And the pick from Sleepy opens this entire thing up to go in favor of the Shock. So he takes out Logix at range. Logix is actually sitting right next to Zupe, so he's his protection in terms of, you know, trying to help that support Zenyatta stay alive. As soon as Sleepy takes out Logix, I actually saw Sinatra on the map use 2 blinks, went all the way to Zupe in the back, got him really low. That forced the rest of the members of the Mayhem back. Sinatra just recalls out, gets full HP, and then Nomi and Nevix come in with Sinatra again to finish off some of those kills.
5 ults coming up here for the San Francisco Shock, and an EMP, of course, being one of them. Dante, though, not knowing exactly where Zupe is in that moment. Not to use it there, as it was clear that the Mayhem was sort of backing out for the time being. That's a defensively used EMP here for Dante. Trying to deal with Manhattan as he springs forth, trying to find a pick on the side of the Shock. He finds very little though. Now the tactical visor from Logix, but the Transcendence is already out on the side of the Shock, so it's very likely his bullets are going to be blunted. Here's the reciprocation though, when Zupe goes for a trans himself. They layer it with the sound barrier. This is Florida using everything in their arsenal to try and make some headway here, and Zupe's taken down by the Primal Rage. Even Swoosh being managed, he had an Orb of Discord on him, and the self-destruct claims to Winston. Not a good fight for the Florida Mayhem, and they spent a heck of a lot on it.
Yeah, they were banking on Manhattan, so the EMP actually only gets Manhattan there. They're trying to back him out to stay alive, potentially land a big sound barrier off of that. And as soon as they start using their support ultimates, Manhattan gets D-maxed. So you weren't able to get him, you know, your Diva obviously so important in the meta right now. She's like basically like a 100% pick rate. But you lose your Diva, it's very difficult to come back from that. Dante again with another EMP. Zebosai is going to switch to Mercy here. I know potentially pocketing Logix up top with that McCree, land a few headshots, are able to pick up some kills rather quick.
This is getting out of hand. Dante with an EMP every single fight. Obviously, Live Sombra doesn't get ult percentage from hack health packs anymore, so that has changed. But still, on this current patch, she's an absolute terror in the night. Swoosh being pocketed here, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Zebosai has to back away, and both tanks from the Mayhem. Disintegrate.
Yeah, although they are pocketing Swoosh there, he actually gets hit with a Biograde from Moth, so can't get any healing there trying to back out. But you did mention, Dante getting these EMPs rather quickly, an EMP every 42 seconds. That's insane from Dante, able to just get these EMPs every single fight, where the Mayhem don't really have a great chance. And this is, you see Sombra all the time on this map. That's exactly why. With the health plaque placement, she's so good. Oh, nice flashbang there from Logix. Catches Sinatra.
That's why you're switching to this McCree. Something to answer against the double flanker setup here that the Shock is bringing. Sombra, Tracer, both very susceptible to the Peacemaker, and the man wielding it, Vic gonna go with the Pulse Bomb here. He does find Nomi. That's a good opening. Trying to turn this aggression from the Shock back against them, and Logix is creating so much space right now. Look, the rest of the Mayhem just move on to the point, and EMP connects, but Logix is not really worried about it. He still has his Peacemaker. Manaton does get desuited by some micro rockets. Dante down. This McCree starting to meet his mark.
It's gonna be a self-destruct over the top here as the Mayhem still making progress here. Zebosai up in the air, using his Valkyrie, providing a lot of healing on the members on the point. He's able to just chain that healing over to everybody. They're going to get a D-Mech onto Nevix. It's looking really good here for the Mayhem.
Logix being threatened again. Sinatra tries to come forward. He drops off the Pulse Bomb, but is taken down by Tvik. Tvik 2-0 in this fight, and Zubi's being brought back. It's a huge advantage right now to the Florida Mayhem in over the point. Nevix is trying to stand tall, and Nomi got himself the Primal Rage, at least to buy some time for the Shock here as we get under 15 seconds left in the round. Logix just plinking away one after another. No one's threatening him right now. This is where McCree really starts to shine, Matt. Nevix attempts to try and accost him, but he has a different target already. Logix low, he goes down. This could be it. The Shock brings the fight back, and it's going to be Sinatra finding two crucial pickoffs, not just Zebosai, but Tvik, and that'll be the hold on second. The Shock looking watertight.
Now, coming off the spawn was Moth. He switches over to Lucio, and just looking at the minimap, he's just able to stay alive for a little bit longer than the Mayhem would have liked, provide some healing to the rest of the squad, allows them to get Sleepy off of spawn as well. So I'm sure a lot of people at home want to know a little bit about Sinatra's first half. I can kind of give you, we'll do like a little Tracer versus Tracer side by side here for the first half. Why don't we? So Sinatra finishes with 18 limbs, 6 final blows, 4 deaths. Tvik 12 limbs, 8 final blows, 5 deaths. So Tvik finishing off a lot of the damage that Logix is putting down, but it's the overall damage which I was looking at. So it's the hero damage for Sinatra, 6,600 versus basically 5,350. For Tvik. If you were doing, every 10 minutes hero damage, Sinatra's doing 2,000 more damage every 10 minutes. So it's a lot more damage that he's putting down, focusing down these tanks a little bit more.
It's also worth noticing that the San Francisco Shock playing a Sombra and a Tracer composition, this actually emphasizes very heavily the damage dealing capability of their tanks and their ability to secure these kills. So Nomi and Nevix are being enabled in a composition that features a Sombra, especially because you're so susceptible to that damage over time that tanks can provide. Nevix has 11 final blows right now, so the highest on the Shock. Nomi has 5, which is 3rd. So both these guys are getting involved in a lot of these fights.
Yeah, and I think, when you run that Sombra, as you mentioned, as kind of like that secondary DPS, she's still not really like a DPS, at least in the current form. On live, much different. I do think it does put a lot of pressure on Nevix being able to do damage on D.Va. We see so many D.Vas finish these games, top in the limbs, top in final blows, like near the damage as some of these DPS players. When you run a Sombra as your second DPS, you really put a lot of pressure on that D.Va to pick up some kills.
And again, Nevix can do that because when EMP is active, it's much easier for a D.Va to walk in there and just spam people down. They don't have cooldowns to stun her and to displace her. But now it's going to be the Shock on the move in. Dante on the Genji. No one's hacking Sombra here to speak of, which is fine. And Sinatra, no surprise, to see him maintain the Tracer.
Yeah, you see 7 of 11 of Nevix's final blows have been on Tvik or Swoosh, so they're doing a nice job of just focusing down those 2 players, the Tracer player of the Mayhem and the main tank, as Sinatra trying to move up on that high ground. Gets hit really low. As soon as he sees that, that's really nice there from Logix. So he has to use recall because he sees that health pack is hacked, can't get any healing from it. Knew exactly where he was coming back to.
Nomi taken down. Logix having a field day at the moment. And Nevix, yeah. I'm not an ichthyologist, is the word. Nevix goes over the edge.
And now we're seeing, a dive coming out from the Shock. So you're seeing Sinatra play Tracer, Dante play Genji. If this doesn't work, though, what do they fall back on, right? Because now this is where you miss that, Widowmaker 76 that Baby Bay can bring into the game.
Very aggressive composition. We kind of wondered when we would see that from the Shock, though, you know, to see them really want to try and master that dive composition. Suffice to say, they may actually have the pieces in the puzzle, providing that Nomi can continue to, to perform well to make that happen. The dive is in. You can see that, you know, Swoosh was knocked off course as he was trying to peel back for the rest of his team. That was by Mott, and he goes down. So 1-for-1, Sinatra falls to Tavik here, who has an EMP, but doesn't really see the need to use it. Working around the hacked health pack as per usual. The Shock now have lost a lot of the venom in their setup. And Dante probably thinks he can't be seen, but now he gets hacked and he could be in deep trouble.
Yeah, when a Genji gets hacked, you don't have the reflect, can't exactly dash away. Nevix does take out Tavik though, so you're not going to have the luxury of that EMP right now, which is a trade you'd probably like if you're the Shock here. I wonder if they can take advantage of this as Tavik comes off spawn now. He'll get back rather quickly. They have a few seconds here to take advantage of it, but a nice link dart there on Nomi may end that.
That was Sinatra, actually, that got slept.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
That's even worse. So there was no way that the Shock were going to progress any further. So they may elect to just set up on that other side of the map. Here's a Transcendence. That bio grenade could have been huge, actually. Wasn't eaten up. All of that Transcendence would have been to no use. And again, Nomi drops first in these fights. It's something we're going to see happening if the San Francisco Shock are going to try and play this aggressive style. You see Sebo and Logix aren't really being threatened, and the Shock have to back out again. They've lost Nomi, the key to starting the fights.
Yeah, Nomi tries to move forward, and he actually gets hacked as he's moving forward, so no abilities to jump up to the high ground where he wanted to go put some pressure up. But what the Shock did before, Mitch, is they sent both DPS players to the right-hand side, and then they had Nomi jump over, go to the point, then jump to that top high ground, and that's when Swoosh followed him, and then the DPS players came in and pinched them in.
There's that early pick here. The problem is the Mayhem. Well, they're already committed to the fight. It's a problem for the Shock now, as they've got no choice but to stay and try and brawl this one out, even having lost their Zenyatta player in Sleepy. Mott going down is more of the issue, though. He had the sound barrier, now no chance to use that. Logix cheekily sidesteps the pulse bomb thrown at him. He's trying to deal with two flankers right now, and knows he needs to back out. He doesn't have the biotic field cooldown, and he's actually been traced out! Oh, Sinatra tries to stay in set with Logix, but it's a Helix rocket to punish him for his hubris.
They know Dante's back here as well.
Yeah, it is.
He's in a lot of trouble.
There's no way.
So they'll be able to finish him off. Small play that happens there is they're trying to force the Transcendence out from Zupe, and he ends up dying instead of blowing the Transcendence, and then the rest of the members from the Mayhem come in to clean it up because Dante's been holding on to this Dragon Blade for a while. See Sinatra switch over to Widowmaker now, so see if he can get something done on this here.
15 seconds left here for the Shock. Their last chance to avoid being full hell on Volskaya. Not the debut it's the one we'll be looking for. Big wants to drop back in. He might have a good setup here. They've already got Nomi in now. Here's where it gets ugly for San Francisco. They got the sound barrier off despite the EMP being used in the fight, so Mott was able to avoid the blast radius, but now more work needs to be done. Dante was hoping for a Dragon Blade, but he's taken down, and the Transcendence was also there. Nevix trying to send the self-destruct inside that enclosed area, and he found Zupe, but it's not going to be enough at this stage. Mott has to back away. He can't even touch the point at this stage. Nomi's going to run and jump, but he's going to be too slow. And a Mayhem, yes! They weren't able to take the second point on the map, but it doesn't matter. The Shock, clearly this newfound proclivity for going aggressive with that dive does not pay off at all. Disappointing result for San Francisco, man.
It's an incredibly strong defense there from the Florida Mayhem. They did a nice job playing around that EMP. The Shock were waiting for that EMP to come in. Tavik ends up picking a kill before they used the EMP. The supports had to hold on to their ults for so long in the Shock.
Well, map 2 just around the corner here, and the San Francisco Shock need to shore up some of those holes and get ship shape. We'll see you in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
we're here celebrating Sinatra's 18th birthday and his upcoming debut for the Overwatch League. And we got Daddy Dak in the kitchen grilling up some food for us.
Yeah. I went to culinary art school for like a year.
So we've all been waiting so long to see Sinatra play in the Overwatch League, and finally he's able to play, so we're all hyped as hell. We're stacked, we're nutty, let's go.
Okay, got the cake here, boys. Here you go, man. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jay. Happy birthday to you. Woo! All right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to celebrate the entrance of this man to the Overwatch League, one must be reminded. You want to wear that Gucci? Sometimes you got to start with H&M, Matt, and it looks like the drawing board is where we need to see the shop.
Yeah, and they'll make one sub coming into this game. It'll be Baby Bay who comes in for Dante on Nepal coming up next. You think that's probably potentially some Pharah play from Baby Bay? You know, probably a lot of 76 as well.
That's right, and there's always options to go for a Widowmaker, so there's more maps than Nepal that Baby Bay is definitely viable to be used on. Might even see Route 66. The point is, there's a lot of options here, right? There's a lot of options for the Shock, but bear in mind, Sinatra's not their only, new recent player. Obviously, Moth has also come on board now as well. So you do have a third of this team that ostensibly has got very limited experience in the Overwatch League. So there's much to be built upon.
And you almost feel like they're kind of, in a way, with all these new additions, right? Like, there's only so much scrim time during the week, trying to mix and match all these players. You know, you think right now, obviously, Sinatra going to play. You're going to see Super, come in, during Stage 3. You're going to see Architect as well. So there's still a lot of work the San Francisco roster has to do, when they figure out these parts and whatnot. It's just, it's going to take time.
And of course, with Baby Bay coming in here, like you already said, Matt, Pharah is an option, right? We've seen her on a couple of the maps on Nepal. Most commonly Village, but also a little bit on Sanctum. Obviously, both of those maps see Pharah employed in very different ways. Our first map, not to spoil it to you, but it's going to be Shrine. So maybe not even a Pharah map to begin with at all.
No, we've seen the Florida Mayhem play this one. They run 76 and Tracer. I remember we saw that Logic's Pulse Bomb against the Valiant last week, like around the corner, and like that was pretty dope. But
the big flank around the back to sort of pull.
I imagine the Shock. I imagine the Shock know that, so they'll probably run Tracer 76 of their own, which they think this would be a very strong combination, a Baby Bay 76 Sinatra Tracer combination.
And again, Sinatra's history in Overwatch in general isn't actually that long. And there's not this huge long list of teams that he's been on in the past. It was actually just Selfless. Selfless Gaming, a team that he played on with Dak, for example. He was kind of scouted from the ladder, essentially. One of those players. This was around the time where the first few players were starting to distinguish themselves on the leaderboards and in ranked and all that jazz. And that's how Sinatra was sort of spotted and brought in board. And he was found to be a prodigious talent, represented, the United States at the World Cup and went toe-to-toe with one of the most frightening and talented DPSs in the world on the side, of course, of South Korea's roster. So, I mean, yeah, it's his first game in the Overwatch League, but this guy's already been around, Sinatra.
And there's a ton of pressure on this guy, and it's, one guy isn't going to change the entire team, right? It's going to be a work in progress here for San Francisco. So, they're going to use that speed boost from Moth, going to hit the point, and it's going to be Zebosai taking out Baby Bay from range. Not ideal.
Yeah, suffice to say, Zebo wasn't the only one shooting at Baby Bay. Then I'm pretty sure I saw a salvo of orbs come flying in. But that already cuts San Francisco's damage potential pretty much in half. 76 is so crucial. The longer you have him in the fight, you're going to start to do far more damage, of course. It's what 76 is trained for. Stick around. Damage over time. Consistency.
Yeah, between Sleepy with the Discord orbs and then Baby Bay, there's just a ton of chip damage coming from both teams, right? Where the 76 can just poke and poke and poke and poke. You get one guy weak, you call it out to your Tracer comes in from an off angle, finishes those players off.
We're seeing a ton of early recalls from Sinatra over this series so far, Matt. Perhaps confidence in positioning, but he's often having to hit that rewind button. Try and get the HP back in tow. So we'll keep an eye on that one as things go, but already the Transcendence is brought in here by Sleepy. So now this is where the Shock need to get aggressive behind this. Use this healing, and they found Spick and Zuppe. That should be enough. And that's a pretty worthwhile fight if they can win this out from here. Only one ultimate and a fight win.
Yeah, it's, Zebosai, Logix, and Manitin still on the point here as Logix trying to come around, almost gets Nomi there.
Oh, he still survives, that's incredible.
And he actually, Nomi was so weak, he actually may have gotten the blink plus the melee, but I believe the Harmony Orb is on him, so when he goes around, the corner to hit that melee to finish him off, he actually gets a little bit more HP that allows him to stay alive.
Makes a big difference in the grand scheme of things. So the Mayhem come back now with the Transcendence that was used against them. So Sleepy is half an ultimate cycle ahead of Zupe in terms of how quickly he's charging up that Transcendence, which means that these two teams might be off sync with them. That means that Sleepy is ahead. May even have another one this fight. That would be huge. Nomi's down early though. Again, we've seen this happen quite often. It was a problem on Volskaya. Let's hope it's not going to be in here as well, as Baby goes in for the tactical visor. The Transcendence we talked about from Zupa has been drawn out now, so it's going to be tough for Baby to find real damage. Self-destruct in, that creates a little bit of space for Sleepy and Baby off on the left-hand side, but doesn't gain them any kills, and ultimately doesn't advance their progress in this fight. They're going to be forced back.
Yeah, in that Zebosai is going to be able to hold on to that sound barrier. So you do have sound barrier still here for the Florida Mayhem as they retake the point retake the lead. You know, for the Shock, you can't lose Nomi that early. Him and Sinatra are up on the high ground, and then he just, instead of like going back to the point, he just kind of drops straight down above the high ground, and the Mayhem just looks straight down and just kill him. I mean, not really much of an excuse there.
Logix, the first line of defense, or more just a scout at this stage. But that's a very long lob of a pulse bomb from Sinatra. Doesn't connect, Logix just casually steps back, and now it's time for them to break into the fight themselves. Logix manages to penetrate the back line and find Sleepy. And it's going to be a full-scale retreat once again, but Sinatra's just a step too slow.
Yeah, the Mayhem just pushing the Shock back all the way to their spawn. That's going to allow Zupe to get closer and closer to that Transcendence yet again. This may give the Florida Mayhem a huge ultimate advantage, Mitch, because they're going to end up getting both support ultimates here towards the end of this map, where Moth is only built up to 50% towards his sound barrier.
Baby is currently doing about 40% of his team's damage. The 76 is making an impact, but the rest of his team needs to step up, and speaking of the man, he gets taken out of the mix already. The pulse bomb had his name on it, and Logix unknowingly removes the greatest damage potential from the San Francisco Shock in one fell swoop. Transcendence has been traded in over the point. Moth getting close to that sound barrier here, so if time permits, the Shock can hang in this fight. They can't afford to lose this one now. The Mayhem are at 99%, and it's cleanup duty for the rest of the Floridians.
Moth getting very close here to sound barrier, just gets it. He's going to pop it right away. Baby Bay with the tac visor. Maybe the Shock have a chance here. It's going to be 2 kills from Baby Bay.
So there it is. They waited on the sound barrier. They're actually losing that fight for the most part. But Moth manages to generate that ultimate, uses it, and then Baby Bay knows he can get aggressive behind it. He knows that the health pool's a little bit more robust, and of course the tactical visor's pretty handy late in the fight when a Diva's not necessarily going to be present.
Which I'm surprised they didn't put enough pressure on Moth, because he's just kind of standing behind that statue, and you have to know if you're Florida, you haven't seen that sound barrier come up in a while. It's got to be very close to it, as Florida's going to have one more chance here to get onto the point.
Early recall from Logix. It's a good sign for the Shock now. They can try and burst down that Tracer and be done with him. Zebosai getting low. Helix Rocket's being traded across the field, but Zebo is now down. That's that second recall from Logix in this fight, but not after, or not before he found Nomi to begin. Both teams are 99. So far, the Florida Mayhem have got a couple picks on that kill, people. They're going to pressure forward. Good Transcendence use there. You can see Baby Bay has confidence to move forward. Now it's going to be pressured down, but swooshes forward as well. Looks like this is going south for Florida.
Yeah, with Tavik using that tactical visor when the Transcendence comes in, he's scared he's going to get pushed out. Passes back all the way up. That'll be a pulse bomb that comes in from Logix. So D-Magnetics. It's going to be Baby Bay using his tac visor now, just trying to stay on the point. It'll be Zebosai using his sound barrier, trying to keep Florida up.
Baby Bay was down to 9 HP, but now he gets himself the sound barrier to stay in this fight. Finally, it seems things might be breaking in favor of the San Francisco Shock. Super uses the Transcendence, but it's only for a brief moment that the Florida Mayhem can keep themselves topped up. Baby Bay's been so close to death so many times in this fight, but he keeps hopping, skipping, and jumping around the point to maintain his life force and presence. Pulse bomb dropped on the outside of the barrier here. 6 players for the Shock on the point. A couple for Florida now stepping forward. Manatin again rejoins the fray. Primal Rage here for Nomi. He's getting sick of this fight. Now trying to push Manatin off the point in that Diva. And that's it! What a fight! Both of these teams more than happy to slug it out. And an overtime that lasted at least a couple minutes. One out by the Shock finally.
It felt like a couple minutes, right? I mean, I think one of the biggest turning points is when the Shock use their Transcendence offensively and they start to push in. At the same exact time they decide to do that, Tavik uses his tack visor, forces him back down by the mega health pack and to wrap all the way around by the front staircase to the point. And he's never able to get anything with that tack visor, which on the opposite side, we saw some good tack visors from Baby Bay. Picks up 3 kills with that soldier ultimate there, the first point.
Again, you don't necessarily have to wait until a D.Va is D-suited to use that tactical visor. In this current age of D.Va, she uses her defense matrix up very quickly. So if you just notice her using it, you can't just try and pop the tack and force it down.
So this is another hero we've seen Sinatraa play at an extremely high level. It's going to be Zarya here, so they're going to run triple tank with Baby Bay playing 76. And you see the charge, he's already earned the 70%. This is why we've seen him build up grabs so quick in previous tournaments, and you see how fast he's building up to it now.
Oh yeah, things are starting to heat up here, and Sinatraa gets the D-suit on Manatin. There's nothing the D.Va can do to prevent the Zarya damage from cutting through. Defense matrix does not mitigate the charge particle laser. And the San Francisco Shock off the back of a slightly beefier composition with the first point.
So Zarya is just so frightening when you see how much damage she can put down when she gets charged up. I mean, average energy at 63% already. You know, for Sinatraa just kind of hovering around that 60-70% range. See already. Get right back up. And the Tracer can't really get close to him, right? He just kind of lobs one of those bombs down at the ground. Gets him so weak.
Heavily zoned out by Sinatraa, who again is so charged. Manatin just has to do an about face. A big old U-turn as soon as he sees the Zarya glowing. Of course, from good use of those barriers. And now Sinatraa's going to be more than happy to hang in this fight. He's got a Graviton Surge ready. Baby Bay with the tactical visor, and already the Mayhem are trying to break line of sight. But now the Transcendence gives them confidence to return to the fight. However, that will be responded to on the side of the Shock. Sleepy brings his own Transcendence. Sinatraa's very low on HP. Does go for a Graviton at some point in the fight, but it appears it may have been eaten.
Yeah, I think it was. He didn't see anybody get stuck in it. So the Transcendence comes out, as well as Baby Bay still alive here for the Shock, but the point has been flipped over to the Mayhem as he's here with Sleepy. He's got Nomi as well. Maybe he'll flip it. Man, the tracking from Baby Bay is absolutely sick. Another tactical visor comes in from Baby Bay. Man, we talk about his soldier all the time. Probably not the best tac visor there. Josian doesn't really get much of anything.
That was his second for the fight, in all fairness.
Yeah, it is. It's just nuts.
If Florida hadn't capped the point briefly, about halfway through that fight, they'd be in deep trouble right now.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty much their last opportunity.
Yeah, San Francisco would be up to like 75-80%.
So it was clever of them to try and go for a back cap while the chaos was happening, Matt. Sound barrier here for the Florida Mayhem. Logix didn't seem to benefit from that at all. He's close to his pulse bomb, and again, Baby Bay drops back to what seems to be a habitual position for the 76. Play around the corners, just, you know, keep peeking around the edges, and it's worked perfectly for the Shock. The Primal Rage from Nomi paying dividends here. So the Mayhem have just shoved it around, and Sinatraa, I see the crouch, mate.
That's the Sinatraa I know.
Cash.
Watch the stream, just
nothing but cash.
He's gonna blink out. Logic's chasing him, but he'll get back out. Get to safety, as now this is probably the Mayhem's last chance at it here. They're gonna get close to a Transcendence. Tavik will have a tac visor yet again. So you're gonna have Baby Bay gonna have a tactical visor and both the portal up here for San Francisco. This is their point to lose.
There's the pulse bomb, Tvik's down. That was the opening they were looking for, but Sinatraa lingers a little bit too long out in the open, and Manatin claims him with a self-destruct. Baby Bay now with his third tactical visor in 2 fights. The Transcendence won't save him against the pulse bomb. Logix responds well after Sinatraa opens up the fight with a big pulse bomb pick, and the Mayhem. Very nicely navigated fight mechanically. And as far as their coordination is concerned, shutting down Baby Bay's tactical visor is huge. That man, 33% of team damage right now. Baby Bay's going absolutely off his chops.
13,500 damage right now. Zupe takes out Sinatraa as he's coming out of the doorway in the top right. So the Mayhem not going down without a fight here is Zebo's going to get close to a sound barrier. You have Swoosh with the Primal Rage just to extend things a little bit longer. If you're the Shock, you can just kind of get in, maybe get one fight out. Maybe try and get Zebo's side to burn this sound barrier when he gets it. And then you have a sound barrier of your own to come back with.
Well, Swoosh with the Primal Rage, and it doesn't really look like he's gotten much out of that, except pushing the Shock back inside that small aperture. So really, San Francisco can set up again now, try and get Nomi healed up before they try and re-engage with this Winston.
The Shock used their sound barrier just to get out of that door at the top, and then the Mayhem just speed boosted out, disengaged. It's a long-range pulse bomb there from Logix, but he has the effects of a sound barrier from Zebosai, and it's going to be 2-3 teammates dead.
I can't believe this. Baby Bay and Sinatra back to back. No one can stop them on the side of the Florida Mayhem now. Then overtime ticking down. Tactical Fire, the last couple of bullets claim Zebosai. Logix throws himself desperately at the point, but he knows it's all for naught. And the San Francisco Shock fire back across the breach. Series one apiece, and looks like the Shock have definitely got the fundamental kind of Overwatch down pat.
When it comes to mechanical skill, they definitely have it. It's just getting that teamwork on the same page for some of these other game modes. Baby Bay has himself a dominant performance, 33 limbs, 4 deaths, 12 final blows, playing that 76.
Not only have the San Francisco Shock increased their Yeezy count, they've also increased their firepower, and it was clear to see on that map. Huge Soldier 76 performance from Baby Bay, and the Shock really know how to hit hard. Half time, just around the corner. It's one apiece in this series. Stick around.
It's out.
Nice job, boys. Let's get it. Nice clutch.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
After a rough start on Volskaya Industries, the San Francisco Shock bounce back and take Nepal, and after that, we're all tied up, one apiece. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A fantastic showing on Nepal by the Shock, but we got to cover it all. I'm your host, Puckett. We've got Crumbs, we've got Reinforced once again, and let's start here with where we left off in the pre-show. We said it's Sinatra's big day. It's his debut. He's finally on the stage. How are the Shock looking with the new man in the mix?
I'd say they're looking exactly as we expected. This guy is not going to miraculously fix every communication issue and everything that the team needs to work on, but they do look a lot better and more flexible. Their control map was actually really nice, so it's an improvement.
And can we make some noise for the people with all the signs? We got some awesome signs in the crowd today. A lot of love for Sinatra. Roadhog, I want to see you all ride it here in the future. Johnny, let's take us back to map number 1. It's Volskaya Industries. We're watching the attack, and once again, it seems very defense-focused. That seems to be the story of the day. As we kick this one off, what were you expecting to see from the Florida Mayhem? Kind of having an idea that we're probably going to see San Francisco Shock running the hit scan here.
Well, we saw a lot of the Soldier coming out of Logix, and I think it was a pretty nice play because, you know, Dante can play the Sombra, of course, and Sinatra is really good on this Logix. So I think I like the tactical and strategic adaptation coming out of the Florida Mayhem, of course. But overall, I think the San Francisco Shock as well, they played a pretty good defense. You know, holding a team on point B, that's a pretty good achievement, of course. But Florida Mayhem, their defense was just a little bit better, managed to hold the San Francisco on point A, of course.
And it seemed Logix kind of had Sinatra in check. As I was watching, it seemed every time Sinatra tried to get aggressive on the attack, Logix was peppering him on that 76, forcing him down, and was always there when it was time for the recall.
Well, you also have to take into account that there is Dante available, or rather the Sombras, all the time. So when you're taking these Tracer duels, it's about where the Zenyatta is. Now you have to add the Sombra, so it's a lot of convolution where you have to keep in track all these different things. So the Tracers can't feel as confident as they normally go into these games.
All right, so game number 1, it's going to Florida. Their defense holds strong. Now we go into game 2, Control, where we know it comes down to a lot of individual skill. That's where you can shine the best. What did you think of this switch up, bringing Dante out of the mix and putting Baby Bay kind of purely on that soldier role?
I kind of like it because then you play more of a tank game, rather, where you see Nomi and Nevix facing up against Sush and Manette, and you want your Soldier 76 to just feed up all the damage into the tanks, of course. So San Francisco, in my opinion, they play this a lot better because their tanks managed to outmaneuver the Florida Mayhem. And as such, I mean, we saw Sinatra popping off, getting a lot of damage onto the tanks, and Baby Bay just doing his thing. He dealt so much damage throughout this round. Highest damage dealer.
I won't lie, when Baby Bay first came in, I was a little bit worried because he was the initial pick on the Paul, and he was dying actually a lot of times, but it was these deaths that were a little unfortunate. You don't know if it was the D.Va that could have saved him. His positioning was a little off, but when it came down to the attack visor and actually getting things done, he was just popping out. I think it was 33% of the team damage done. He was every attack visor getting a lot of value out of these abilities because you wait for the D-Mech and then it's everyone is dead.
All right, it's all tied up after 2 games. What are we expecting in the second half? King's Row will be game 3.
Well, actually, we saw Sinatra out on the Sorion Village, of course. We know that Sinatra has an amazing Sori, of course, so a bit exciting to see that. We're heading into King's Row. We know that it is the Reinhardt and Zarya map, of course. We have seen the Florida Mayhem prefer some Orisa play, of course, so it might see some struggles coming out. But Sinatra on the Zarya again, I think it would be pretty exciting. You can't really play Tracer on King's Row. So.
I think we can see that, but we also have Dante Junkrat. That's an opportunity that we've seen do a lot of full holds on King's Row. But then what about Baby Bay? You missing out on Widowmaker? You're going to give up...
Can you put all 3 in?
Yeah. Sinatra off tank?
Now you're talking.
He's been on the bench. He's had time to warm up. We'll see what the Shock has in store for us. Halftime, it's coming to a close. We're all tied up 1 apiece. When we come back, it's King's Row. You don't want to miss it.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
We got another tight contest on our hands as we are all tied up 1-1 in this matchup between the Florida Mayhem and the San Francisco Shock. Your boy Sinatra's looking very good in his debut, though it's obvious he's shaking off those first match jitters. And the Florida Mayhem, they continue to be the biggest surprise to me in stage 2 with how much they have improved. Anyways, we got a whole nother half left to go, so let's go ahead and get back into the action with Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you, big fella. No doubt about it. Florida Mayhem, much improved this season, but we're looking at Sinatra as a player, right? We talk about this guy coming in, and you know, we don't expect to see him peak for quite some time yet. But one thing that I've noticed is a couple of those recalls being forced a little bit early. You know, you see Sinatra's trying to get out in position, trying to flank around, and you're seeing that the Mayhem are keeping this guy honest.
Yeah, he's very much playing alone, playing aggressive, trying to make plays for the team. Dante will come in here on King's Row for the San Francisco Shock. This is a map I actually thought Baby Bay would potentially play if you wanted the Widowmaker, but you think Dante...
Or a Pharah?
Yeah,
I guess it's the Junkrat. It's got to be the Junkrat.
Junkrat. I think you can run Tracer Genji as well, and then you can have either him or Sinatra play Zari if they want to run that triple tank hit again.
You could run triple tank Junkrat on this.
Yeah, we've seen the Shock play Zari already on King's Row. You remember back when Dante was playing that. He played it very good. So I think that's another strategy they can go back to. And you know, Sinatra is like the second piece of this puzzle, like for the Shock in a way. Like they have a lot of pieces coming in, right? You know, Moth was the first one who comes in, you know, starts playing for Dak. Then Sinatra now comes in the DPS role. You also have Architect coming in the DPS role. You have Super coming in as a main tank. A lot of players to work in here for the Shock.
I mean, we were there for the World Cup, Matt. Do you remember much of Sinatra playing any Widowmaker?
No, I can't remember any of that. I know the one match they played against South Korea and Hanamura, Flower ran.
That was Flower.
Flower ran it on offense. I don't think anyone ran it for Team USA.
At the time, it wasn't really the go-to.
No.
But I guess we were on the LAN client, right?
Yeah.
We were on the LAN client, so I guess, you know, maybe Flower was one of the early ones to figure out just how strong Widow was on that patch. I say
to be fair, Flower also, when we were at the World Cup stop in Poland, made it a point to play every single hero. So he could have just been picking whoever he wanted.
I mean,
just because he's that good.
That team did beat a Pharah Mercy comp with a Reaper and a Mei. So, you know.
They also ran, remember, they ran, it was King's Row, I think, against one of the teams in the World Cup.
Bro, I didn't have enough time to finish my plate of pierogi before the matches were over.
they ran like Flower on Orisa, and they ran like Reinhardt as well. They were just like running around. That was a lot of fun.
Despite how it may seem, though, this is way serious business.
So Sinatra did play this on Volskaya in the first match. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it because he switches towards the end.
It was right at the end of the match, right?
Yeah, I mean, his scoped accuracy was up near like 68%. Granted, he only played it for maybe a minute, 45 seconds probably at best, but they'll try it again here on defense.
This is a very indirect composition, though, Matt. It means that, you know, in lieu of Dante and Sinatra not standing on the point, then Nomi and Nevix must be mainstay presences on the point to prevent the Mayhem from getting free ticks and such.
The Mayhem have done their homework, though, because this is a strat the Shock like to use when Baby Bay is in the lineup. So maybe they try and throw them off guard a little bit. Oh, they won't run that Widowmaker with Sinatra in now, but that's why you see the dive come in from Florida. It'll be Tavik on Genji, Logic's on Tracer. They need to get Tavik up on the high ground here. Start putting some pressure onto Sinatra.
Well, they're piling in on the high ground, Matt. Zorpe finding Sinatra early. Oh, this is good. The Widowmaker being down. Sleepy's going to get resurrected here by Moth, but there's only one player that he can bring back. So now, with the healing back in full strength for the San Francisco Shock, they need to put it to good use. You can see that Tavik wants to get towards Nomi, and there's nothing that Orisa can do against the Genji in that situation. Holt wasn't there. No point going for it. And Tavik's Genji really starting to get some space and room to move.
As a Genji player, you love to see Orisa on the other side. The easiest heroes.
Free Dragon Blades?
Down. Free Dragon Blades. I mean, a ton of ult charge off of Orisa. Her weapon fairly easy to deflect, right? I mean,
it's so hard.
You like to see, yeah.
The travel time on, you know, Orisa's projectiles makes it quite frustrating to try and get a Genji even close up. So managed scouting ahead a little bit here, just checking to see if anyone's trying to wrap around the right-hand side. Or is San Francisco now fan out defensively?
Because that fight is so fast, you're going to have a Valkyrie here and Blade for the Mayhem before the Shock have either of their support ults. So have to see, maybe they can get a big pick, but it looks like that Blade going to come in early.
That's so rough. Sleepy's down. Tavik trying to get a little bit closer to Moth there, a little bit of a wall climb to try and increase his distance. Riptire coming around the corner though, yep, straight towards Swoosh here. And the San Francisco Shock shed up on the payload, so now Florida need to double back and deal with this. They do. Pulse pump to Nomi. They'll claim him pretty comfortably. Zebasai being threatened down by Nevix now. Tvik more than happy to put himself in between the D.Va and his backline. And the Shock uses Riptire in that fight, Matt. Really only the one pick from it.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, now you have your Valkyrie. You're going to have a Transcendence here against probably just the Transcendence on the other side. You have a chance to stall this out.
Swoosh needs a big primal. Big primal for Swoosh here to help the payload get over the line. It's a very good time for Swoosh to have that Winston ultimate. Tvik now backing away. You can see that Nomi wants to get to grips with the Cyber Ninja as quickly as possible. And behind the Valkyrie now, we do see the Shock getting aggressive. Sinatra pulse bombs up there. And look at this, Swoosh dropping in the backside. He was essentially unnoticed. And now he's forced the support line of the Shock right on back.
It's a huge kill from Sinatra because he takes out Zupe just as he's about to get Transcendence. You don't have that big game-changing ultimate for the Florida Mayhem to push them over the line. So it's a huge pulse bomb. Connects with the support. Zebasai will now... So this is interesting. They switch off of Mercy, but go over to Lucio to pick a Pharah instead of the Genji. That's a really interesting decision here.
I guess
maybe you're not worried because you have Junkrat Tracer on the other side where you can just throw the orb up on them and you're really relying more on that speed AoE down on the ground.
And also San Francisco don't even have an Ana, so it's going to be pretty tough to keep Tvik honest with all this damage.
Yeah.
Yes, Sinatra can sort of burst him down if it gets too close to the ground. Zebasai there to boot back on Nomi. Winston realizing maybe he went a little bit too deep. Sinatra going down to Manitou in the meantime. So now Nomi, there's only so much further he can back away. Primal Rage, this is well used actually. Notice what he's doing here to the supports of the Florida Mayhem, making it very hard for Zupe to get in. Zupe has to use his Transcendence to stay in the fight. And this Riptire could overcome the healing over time from that ability. You see the Mayhem hear the sound, they've backed away completely. Very smart. Good disengage.
And just holding that Riptire around the corner just buys some time and space there as Nevix goes right up into Tvik. He's really got to be the one who puts the pressure on the Pharah in this guy, right? It's going to be the D.Va with that defense matrix, obviously can shoot while flying now. So that's really what they're relying on. I think out Tvik. No comp changes coming in from the Shock. They're going to keep going with this.
You can see the Riptire heralds such a grisly degree of destruction that the Mayhem took a huge step back and actually lost the effectiveness of the Transcendence because they weren't getting aggressive behind it because they knew it wouldn't save them from that Riptire. Well played by Ductor.
They had to back all the way out. Sinatra trying to be sneaky inside. Healing's going to get back over towards Sleeping, get that Harmony Orb. Now this part of the map as well for the Pharah, good opportunity to just go hover over the buildings, put down some damage. Nice pulse bomb there on the Swoosh. Lands on that main tank, perfect.
Already done. Logic's lingering for longer than I would expect near the payload. He actually got sleepy. It's just going to be rezzed out though. So that's the frustration for Florida now. Logic's is going to be sort of more limited in his ability to have a big swing effect on these team fights because Moth is there with that Resurrect. And if Florida lose one player, like Swoosh in that example, they have to back away. They will be allowing Moth to go in and get a very safe Resurrect.
This next fight will be huge for the Mayhem. They're going to have both support ultimates here and a barrage. See Tvik trying to line one of these up. They do get Nomi early. That's going to be the Transcendence that comes out from the Mayhem.
We need a big barrage here from the Florida Mayhem if they want to advance any further in this map. San Francisco, out of respect, if nothing else, are backing up. Going to be a self-destruct thrown in, and Tvik's not getting away from that one. Dante combines. He adds his Riptide to the mix, and it's a cacophony of explosions. And the San Francisco Shock shut the door again in the Mayhem's face. This map has been a problem for Florida. Or this map type, in fact, a problem for Florida over the entire season thus far. This match seems to not be an exception.
So you'll have a Transcendence for the Shock here. You're also going to have a Pulse Bomb. We'll see if Sinatra can connect with one in the beginning. You know, he's had, I believe, 2 Pulse Bombs. Yeah, connecting with a Pulse kill at each one. So 100% kills on Pulse Bombs thus far. Tvik, you have this Barrage, but we've seen Barrage be such a dangerous ultimate in terms of, like, a lot of times you end up using it, you end up dropping right away. There's the Pulse Bomb. Sinatra doesn't get anything.
Yeah, note that Sinatra actually queued out the Pulse Bomb before he used the Blink. So ultimately, he was a little bit off course when he tried to land the ultimate. Tvik, this is a ballsy play coming out from the Pharah here for the Florida Mayhem, but the Transcendence is there. The San Francisco Shock is able to weather the storm, literally and figuratively. Now it's time for Logix to step up. He found Dante, but again, it's Moth there with the Resurrect. Wow, what a really prophetic name to have to come in and play Mercy now for the Shock. And Logix now needs to do something with this Transcendence. This is the last chance for the Florida Mayhem to come forward. The self-destruct and attempted zoning. The Florida Mayhem break line of sight behind the payload. They avoid getting blown up. Sinatra being the front line of defense here is such a strange thing to say, but he's doing it well. Staying alive. Self-destruct here for Florida.
Yeah, they're going to use their Valkyrie as Moth dies during that Mercy ultimate. It's just Sinatra here by the payload.
They got it.
The Mayhem will take that checkpoint B. That was a really risky play with that rocket barrage from Tvik. Goes right up into the middle there, and the Transcendence comes down the other side. He does, I believe, have the effects of Zebusai's sound barrier during that, so stays alive a little bit longer.
Every time.
He'll run Widowmaker here now as we get towards this later part of the map. Wonder what the response will be from the shop.
Every time I see a Pharah drop in on top of a D.Va, I'm already wincing. But let's see what the response is. This Widowmaker now to come in. This makes Dante a little bit endangered if Tvik can get some high ground, but there's nothing really available to the Mayhem right now. He picks off the Riptide though, so that's already the Widowmaker paying off. And the Mayhem will move forward now. No need to disengage. Use that big front line. You can see they're trying to jump on Nomi. The Transcendence is too late. The Wambulance not quick enough to keep the Winston up. But the Resurrect is there from Moth yet again.
Yeah, they're trying to keep Nomi up with that Transcendence, but I guess the other option they did have is to go up and get a res, but don't have res anymore, and that's going to be Sleepy falling with a headshot there from Tvik. It'll be Zupe taking out Sinatra as the payload keeps on moving, getting very close, the Mayhem are, to completing the match.
Tvik's quick picks. Nevik's taken down after getting desuited, and now Tvik will just be on door duty. Dunce is down to half HP before he can even swift strike onto the point. Tvik's trying to watch the Moira here as the fade is used. Sinatra throwing himself at it. A lot of threat generated by that Widowmaker, and Tvik going for a bit of a switch. It works out well. Let's see what was going on the Florida comms as they worked on the point A.
Go. Going. Everyone three. All their
Don't commit in. Commit in. Just hold them here. You have to drop down. So we're trying to drop down. Dropping.
Got a pick.
Play point. Just drop.
We got 2 kills. They didn't res Widow.
Can we go up? 3, 2, 1, going now. Kite back.
I can't follow. I'm on point.
Yeah, I have to drop down. Kite back.
Keep mana is low. Catching your low. Nice.
Minimum.
Someone on point.
I'm low.
Corner.
I'm dead.
You know, much the Mayhem comms are so clean there. You know, you have a great idea of what's going on. No short, nice to the point.
Don't commit in, just hold the corner. Swoosh was calling.
And something I know, we played an interview with Tvik and Swoosh on Watchpoint where they talked about, they obviously are scrimming still a ton, but they've actually spent more time now just sitting around with each other and just talking about the game and just kind of getting on the same page that way. And they feel like that has helped them out even more than some of the practice that they have gotten.
Yes, because I think your instinctive responses as a player at this level are governed by your philosophy, your personal philosophy about how Overwatch is meant to be played. So if you can all be aligned, on that sort of, I use the term ideology there, about approaching Overwatch, then you don't have to discuss some things. You just go out and do, and everyone's already on the same wavelength.
Right. Well, the thing is some of the plays they could have been making previously are the right play if you have the same mindset as that person has about how to play the game at that particular moment, right? But when you're all having different mindsets of how the game's supposed to be played and whatnot, you're making those plays, they don't get in sync with each other. That's how you see the Mayhem kind of play in stage 1. Looking much better here in stage 2. They'll have Tvik play Junkrat on defense. Logix will play Tracer. For the San Francisco Shock, it'll be Dante on Genji. It'll be Sinatra playing Tracer.
Sinatra, though, so aggressive like a bulldog. He's always out in front of the Shock here. He doesn't let the Shock sort of bait attention and then flank around. He is there. He is in the face of the Mayhem.
Well, that's how he played even previously to Overwatch League, right? Just getting as close to the enemy as you could, really putting a lot of pressure on them, just trying to break them down, cause a ton of chaos.
Nomi, I was wondering what he was going to do with that position. Was he going to jump to the high ground? It looked as if Nomi was just trying to get an idea of how Florida are distributed around this point. Logix might lose out this duel, and Sinatra, he can smell blood. He went in for the kill. That 1v1 on Tracer is exactly why Sinatra is in this roster. It's why he was such a coveted personality to bring into the San Francisco Shock. And off the back of that first pick, the way has been paved. Sinatra now has so much space. He knows Logix isn't going to be here to keep tabs on him, and it's a clean up for the San Francisco Shock. A very good start.
As he sprays the oops on the ground, gets that first pick, able to get the point over to San Francisco, and you already see, Logic's going to switch over to McCree. Gotta contain Sinatra when he's coming at your squad.
That says so much.
Well, we've seen just Tracer players. It's almost not even about the stats of the Tracer player. It's just the chaos and commotion they cause. As Nomi goes in a little bit too deep, gets taken out by Logix. That'll force the rest of the Shock to back out. But it's just what a Tracer does just open up for the rest of the team, just able to make plays. Sinatraa now will play Zarya. So I know we saw him play this on Nepal. Did actually land that grab on Nepal. We couldn't see it from the angle we were watching, but did actually land that grab, which forced out that Tracer.
So I kind of thought we'd get triple tank Junkrat here, but Dante still wants to use the Genji. Maybe he'll stick to it and use the blade, and then maybe a switch later on. That's definitely an option. Let's see, though, how he's supported by the rest of the Shock pressing forward. Dragon Blade in, great time to see this in full effect. Transcendence and it's the flashbang. Fig gets two, Moss and Dante down. Fight over.
They did force out Transcendence and they forced out the Riptire, although now with Triple Tank, you're going to get the Riptire rather quickly. Now you see Triple Tank plus Junkrat here. So Nomi will move over to Reinhardt. So this is like a traditional kind of like Triple Tank back in the day. Maybe you kind of switch out the D.Va for the Roadhog, but D.Va just way too good right now. Don't sub her out. As Sleepy has a Transcendence of his own. Sinatraa already 50% to a grab here. And potentially you'll have grab and Riptire online at the same time.
I like Nomi's Reinhardt. Very much more suits his temperament as a player. And again, with the Junkrat hitting damage from behind, he can do things just like that. Tuvix somehow falls foul of one of Dante's grenades. And that's a lot of damage stripped away from the Florida Mayhem. One of the two only DPS players. And of course, Sinatraa, when is he not fully charged? Great management of barriers here. Not only keeping his backline alive, but getting charged up, hitting like a Mack truck. And a Graviton in his first fight, that is just astounding. Zarya's grab is one of the slowest charging ultimate abilities in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts to get it that quickly. You know, builds up to the grab, you know, in just about a little bit over a minute here. So, like I was mentioning, you're going to have that grab plus Riptire combination for this next fight. Sound Barrier and Transcendence here for the Mayhem, as you see he's doing a nice job of applying these barriers to Nomi at the perfect time, building up that charge. Look how low Swoosh gets already. It's going to have that Sound Barrier come out. There's a big grab.
Now let's see what the follow-up is. Transcendence is committed to this one. Doesn't matter. Riptire is there. Zephyrside swoosh it down. Manata now has to try and do this alone. 1v5. And you guessed it, pretty bad odds for the Florida D.Va. The rest of the Mayhem have already gotten the heck out of Dodge, and they realize now they've been put on notice by San Francisco. 4 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Get the map done.
That grab is absolutely massive because they also use Sound Barrier and Transcendence in that fight. So get both support ults out. Look, he's already 50% to another grab. You're going to have both your support ults with nothing on the other side. That grab gives the Shock a great opportunity to close out the match.
It's unbelievable how often he's able to generate this Graviton Surge. It is a game-changing ability. Having it is important. Dante now is going to be threatened down pretty heavily by this Widowmaker. I'd not be shocked if he switches off. San Francisco don't really have a direct response to a Widowmaker. They don't have a hero that can access her except for Nevix, who'll probably want to be spending most of his time in the backline with Dante anyway.
It's also hard to connect with a grab onto that Widow, as there's an Earthshatter that comes in from Nomi, connects with nothing.
Yeah. Sure what Nomi was going for there. Maybe just trying to make sure there was no shielding for the self-destruct to come in.
Yeah.
To no avail, though, the ultimate goes, but swishes it. Travel Fire Strike! Down. And now, Nomi was running. What was tickling him in the back of the neck? It was Manhattan attempting to get his D.Va mech back, but this is looking dire now for the Mayhem.
And you got Sinatraa, you can see, sitting in the back behind that spawn door here. He's got the grab, so he's going to wait for the players to get out onto the payload, then land a huge Graviton Surge. You're going to have a Riptire here, too.
Sinatraa might go on a drown and catch me outside the enemy spawn with my boy. That's the way it goes. But Sinatraa doesn't get much of that grab or anything, as it was eaten by the looks of things now. Transcendence being brought into the fight. Tuvix Riptire getting taken down by Nevix. And yeah, there's going to have to be a retreat here for the Shock.
Yeah, that one, as soon as Manhattan comes out, he actually sees Sinatraa out of the corner of his eye and just flicks and uses that defense matrix right away. So that was a set play there. Would have been sick if they landed it, but didn't connect with anything there. As now you're going to see Sinatraa go over to Tracer here, trying to close this out.
Nevix getting desuited here. He'll drop off the edge. Yeah, again, for those sort of watching and maybe you haven't seen a lot of the Shock or the Zarya, the Graviton comes out orange with their skin color, so on the color scheme of this Foundry, it can blend in a little. Try and let you know when it's being used. But Sinatraa switched off back to the Tracer anyway.
Logix will play Reaper, has that Death Blossom here towards the end of the match, as Swoosh goes over to Reinhardt as well. So can he block this Nomi Earthshatter? Do we see that come into play? As Nomi does have this Earthshatter, a big ultimate. You can obviously stun all these enemies, knock them down. Could be huge. As you see, it's actually, no, doesn't connect with anything. And again, that time they actually got Swoosh up in the sky, but they're not able to finish it off.
Yeah, the fact is the Mayhem were all so far away, and now Logic's going to come up with a Death Blossom. Sinatraa down. That's all he's going to have for the time being. He'll be able to back away and heal up as Zorpe gets himself a Dante headshot. and an Nevix mech.
Yeah, it was another nice try to set up play there from the Shock. Dante throws in a mine and actually knocks Swoosh up in the sky. Obviously, he's not there with the Reinhardt shield to block anything that Nomi puts down with that Earth Shatter. Just doesn't connect with anything. So Logix goes to Widowmaker yet again. No Genji or Widowmaker on the opposite side for the Shock, and no Winston either. So it's really just on Nevix to put that pressure on him.
What do they get with this self-destruct? Nomi has to about face with that shield very quickly, and it looks like he did so. The San Francisco Shock were pushed back for a moment. This Riptire will need to get a lot of value. And cut through Zope. That's Dante down though. The Shock need him in play to finish this match.
Well, now Tavic's going to have a Riptire of his own to use here. Potentially get one off the respawn. Slow them down yet again with only 40 seconds left. The Mayhem looking good on defense. Swoosh still with this Earth Shatter as well. But man, there's been no answer for this Widowmaker up on this high ground.
And the Mayhem have the most powerful ultimates available to them right now, Matt. That's going to be very important. All the AoE goodness you could ask for. Logix now under scrutiny. Nevix hunting for the Widowmaker across the map, but he gets away. He eludes the large and unwieldy mech. Tries to drop into the Transcendence himself. That's a Riptire from Dante, though. It does find Severside. Now Tavic's going to try and respond in kind. Moth won't be saved from the Transcendence from Sleepy, who will try and get some value out of this one. Swoosh, Earth Shadow doesn't really claim much. Nomi had the shield there. Tvic finds two remote mines, cleaning up. And now Swoosh to step forward to clear off the last bit of resistance. It was Sleepy, the only man left for the Shock. And the last line falls. The map goes to the Mayhem.
Swoosh's Earth Shatter hits Dante right around the corner of Nomi's shield. I believe Tavic's able to finish off Dante and Nomi there in the process. It's the Mayhem. The opportunity to close this series out going to map 4.
Again, you know, we saw a stat earlier on, Matt. They've struggled with hybrid map types in general, the Mayhem have. But today they're looking very good. Swoosh and the Reinhardt looking very good. Logix's Widowmaker. Everything's coming together for this Florida team right now. For the Shock, perhaps this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I mean, their debuts for Sinatra. Moth in what is only first handful of games here. There's still one more map to go. We still got a potential map 5 on the horizon. If that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. We'll see you after the break for map number 4.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Focus up, guys. Focus up.
We have the best players. We have the best fans.
Going into game. Going to 3. On 3.
We wanted to make sure that all the best players in the world were in the league, regardless of where they're from. You're really starting to see everybody really wants to up their game.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Blizzard Arena here in Los Angeles. And a couple big moments today, and a debut, of course, for Sinatra for the San Francisco Shock. Kings Row, though, looking like it was going to be a very good map for the Shock. They had about 3.5 minutes left, Matt, just to get to the end of the match in that last stage, and they got completely stalled out by Florida.
It's that grab that Manitin, with just like insane reaction time, just turns to his left, defense matrix eats right away. That may have won them the game. If he connects with that grab, you think Manitin and Swoosh both drop there, everybody stays alive for the Shock, and they at least complete the map. It forces OT. We don't know what happens there, but Route 66 will be potentially the final map in this series. No changes for the Shock, which, if you are the Mayhem, that directly tells you you're going to see Sombra yet again. This is the same comp they ran on Volskaya. You know that Dante is going to play the Sombra for this team. It gives you a really good idea of what San Francisco is going to try and do.
We saw a really interesting situation in the previous series, actually, with Philadelphia versus the Gladiators, where we saw, you know, the Gladiators forced to sort of emulate the Widowmaker composition, because Carpe was playing Widowmaker.
Yeah.
We saw Sureforce says, I don't really want to play Sombra, I have to play Widowmaker. So forcing them, I guess, to maybe play a different style. I don't see the Shock getting off Dante at any stage, though, here. This guy went nuts against the Fuel. Remember that match?
I think what you'll see happen is, you know, what the Mayhem have here. Logix will either run like McCree or Widowmaker. And then if they kind of progress the payload on through, you assume that the Shock will go back to the Genji Tracer combination of Dante and Sinatra. Sinatra obviously going to play the Tracer. So Manitin could also run Roadhog. We've seen Manitin run Roadhog in the past. No Zappas today for the Mayhem. I usually see him on Hollywood. So no Hollywood in the pool.
Yeah, again, they're taking their time acclimatizing him, and you can only really pick up one map at a time, right? Hollywood's not in the pool today for these two teams, so we don't see...
It's like the exact opposite. The Shock are just throwing people in. Like Moth gets here, get in. Again, Sinatra, you're evade, get on in.
Sinatra at least has been with them for a long time, whereas Zappas has sort of just come out of Finland. But yeah, I get it. So this feels to me, Matt, like a very anti-Sombra approach, with Florida taking both Hanzo and the McCree. Logic's always looking these back. He's going to be looking very shifty to try and catch out the sneaky Dante.
Tvik just fires a Sonic Arrow out of the spawn, trying to see if Sombra's potentially sitting in the train car or over to the left, and they're able to get a quick, cheap pick off on that Sombra.
Flash!
Misses that headshot.
Gotta hit it, Logix. If you don't, you usually can't finish the kill. Otherwise, you're better off just going for a fan to hammer and hoping for the best in cases like that. However, they're keeping Dante honest. He's getting close to that EMP, and that's a nasty bio-nade and a sleep. Oh, that's so rough. Logic's nowhere to go.
That was a sick bio grenade that comes in from Moth, and I know Logic's missing those headshots on a Dante.
Look at this.
That would have been huge, right? Because he would have been nowhere close to this EMP. You would have had that Sombra out of the equation. Potentially, you could have kept moving the payload from the position it's in now. So now it's just kind of sitting around the corner. And this is prime opportunity for Dante to hit a big EMP here.
And that would be Zuppe out of the picture very quickly. Dante, Discord and 2 orbs connected from Zuppe, so that is going to force the recall, a translocated usage out of Dante, returning back to his own lines. Zuppe did spot Sleepy in the background charging a salvo of Orbs of Destruction, so EMP. Zuppe not affected by it, but he doesn't have a Transcendent, so it doesn't make a big difference. He still has his shield taken away from him anyway, and Logix was the only player on the Florida Mayhem that was able to do any fighting there, really.
Yeah, they tried to push all the way around the corner to get Logix. They end up losing Nomi there, so Nomi will come back all the way from the respawn. I'd say you'll have a slight respawn advantage here for the Mayhem, but by the time they get back, everybody will be at full strength here as Dante trying to build towards another EMP here. He's done a nice job of just keeping control of these health packs, right? Getting back to the Mega under Big Earls, then going back to the one in the cave, getting that one as well.
Florida Mayhem, push up here. Dante's just in there, getting rid of Zuppe. No hack required. Just dropping in and dropping out. Nomi getting 2, they were Manitin getting desuited and picked up. Zuppe being brought back here by the Mayhem. They're a little bit split, but they're trying to get aggressive behind this Valkyrie now. A lot of healing there, and you can see the swoosh just bounce straight on in. Logix now has some space created for him. He doesn't have to worry about getting flanked out. Sinatra's not in a position to wrap. You can see him up there at the top of the screen. He does have a pulse bomb, and he'll save that for the stalling fight, but this needs to be timed well by the Shock.
Dante will get back on to the payload. Logic's trying to test a little bit. Logic's at range, trying to put down some shots. That's going to be the Transcendence that comes out from Sleepy. So the EMP comes online here from Dante, but you may not even need it. You get that D-suit onto Manitin, and now the Primal Range from Novi, pushing people around. They'll use EMP anyway to just make sure they secure the fight.
Now, Logix was being pocketed for some of the time. There was Eversai, but he's taken down. Nevix with the self-destruct, claimed the Mercy kill. And that was a very, very good stall from San Francisco. It didn't end up being a stall, right? But they had to set up again to defend from that checkpoint. And they did it off the back of the Transcendence in the fight. Sinatra drops a pulse. Nicely orchestrated by San Francisco. A lot of teams get that particular fight on defense wrong.
Yeah, and the Mayhem are able to make some progress. I know because in the fight previous, when Dante used the EMP, they put a lot of pressure on Zupe. They kill Zupe. Logix takes out Sinatra. And then when Dante uses his translocator, Tavik is like waiting right there and hits him with a pulse bomb. So it's a really nice play from the Mayhem that gets those two DPS players out of the fight. Start advancing the payload.
Neither Zenyatta really getting a much chance to do damage or get kills here, Matt. Neither Sleepy nor Zupe have eliminations or have final blows, should I say. Sinatra trades out. Logix is down, now being brought back by Zevasai. Vic trying to keep taps once again on Dante. Probably expects an EMP to come through. What's going to save you against this? So Deadeye from long range. Dante, it's his skull that comes up, and Logix is more than happy to hit Q.
They keep Logix out of that fight so he doesn't get hit with the EMP, and he's able to zone some players out with that Deadeye as he's rolling on forward, just trying to connect now with Sinatra as he's darting around. He's got that pocket though. It's coming in from Zebosai, healing him up on Mercy. Moth will be here with Sinatra. They will both fall as it'll be the Mayhem with that overtime push able to get point A.
And you can see that. I mean, there aren't a ton of hard CC sources in this game, Matt. Logix didn't even intend to flash Nomi there, who was trying to get Sinatra, but he flashed a Winston at half HP with a Discord orb on him. Just a bonus, and then Florida blew Nomi up. They got 2 kills very, very quickly. So the Mayhem pushing forward. 2 minutes, Matt. It's not a heck of a long time on this stretch of Route 66, though.
And Tavico played Farah. This is something we saw them do a little bit earlier in the series. And you know, they didn't really have an answer for it. They didn't go to the Widowmaker. They didn't go to something like a Soldier 76. So we'll see how San Francisco responds to this now. An interesting pickup here as it's going to be a sound barrier that comes in from the Shock as they're going to get a little bit aggressive. The return here is that the Mayhem going to use their Transcendence, so going to be able to fight on through this.
That's an unfortunate fight for the San Francisco Shock, man. Moth commits a sound barrier to a fight in which San Francisco have already missed their Zenyatta. The timing just wasn't great. I believe that Moth, went for the ultimate just to sleep. He sort of got picked off. And now he's switching over towards the Ana.
Well, now you're going to put some pressure on Moth to shoot Tavik out of the sky, right? You know, you kind of need that Ana to combo with Nevix because you're getting close to an EMP. You don't want to switch off of that just now. But Zupe actually takes out Dante, so not going to have a use of the EMP in this fight. It's going to be Valkyrie that comes in from Zebosai, keeping everybody topped up. It's looking pretty good for the Mayhem.
I mean, Zupe had a very quiet first stage of this map, but now he's opened up both of the last 2 fights with early picks. First on Sleepy, now on Dante. That is so big. It gives Florida such a huge advantage going into the beginning of these fights now. Getting a 6v5 and exacerbating that advantage is what they intend to do. Manitin's forced out. Nevix, though, gets to pick and Zebosai. Nice EMP from Dante, making it very hard for the Mayhem to use any of their mobility abilities to avoid the blast.
Yeah, they both get hit with the EMP there as, take a look in the skybox. There is that self-destruct goes over the top. Vic and Zebosai not able to get out. So now we're under 25 seconds here. Manitin will have a self-destructive zone to Vic getting close to a rocket barrage.
This is why I say 2 minutes isn't very long on this stage. All of a sudden now, it's 15 seconds left in the round. The payload's still a decent stretch away.
And the Shock know exactly what they're going because Dante is in his, as they're trying to push all the way around by that health pack, calls it out to the rest of the team.
Right, 1-for-1 trade. Zebosai down. Sinatra might have gotten the pick to give San Francisco Shock the defensive hold here. He's got another one. Now Logic's falling to the Tracer and Sinatra and Dante really starting to get things done. Zupe falling. Vic may soon find himself being the last hope here. He and Manitin trying to get this payload moving. Nice salvo of orbs coming away from Sleepy, and is going to force the Transcendence. It's a 1-for-1. Dante and Vic take each other down. Sleepy's there to remove Manitin's mech. Now a Transcendence could be an option. He's being well protected in this fight, and I think got the nano boost there as well from Moth. Here's the trans. Great timing for Shock to get such an important defensive ultimate. You see the Zebasai's got no choice but to back away. He's still taken down by Nevix regardless. The Diva for San Francisco now acting as a real bouncer. And Sleepy wraps around the backside here. There's no way that Swoosh can avoid that damage. What a big hold. Only one checkpoint going over towards Florida. That map 5 is looking increasingly likely.
Swoosh and Tavik alive for the Mayhem. They are pushing the payload up against Moth, Sleepy, and Dante. Dante makes it back to the payload, and then Moth uses the nano boost onto Sleepy to keep him alive long enough until he gets that Transcendence, then pops it. You have Sinatra, Nevix, and Nomi coming out of the top of the respawn door, and they're able to get the hole.
So one of my biggest takeaways from watching San Francisco, especially last week, is that their defensive play has improved drastically. It's looking very, very good, solid. We saw, you know, them get big holes on maps like Volskaya and Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken, last week. But the attack was lacking. That aggression, we weren't really seeing a heck of a lot of it from them. So again, this is now where they sort of need to overcome that weakness they had last week, at least in their matches against those teams. Hopefully with Sinatra as the spearhead.
Well, right, he can play aggressive. We see that all the time from him.
Well, he just is aggressive.
He just is aggressive. I mean, you need to see it from the rest of the team. And I think you kind of look at Nomi. You know, he's very good. We see when they can slow the pace down, right? You know, he makes really good decisions. It's, you know, those fast pace, the aggressive plays. That's where you need to see him improve.
Again, seeing the final goal right there on the screen, so close. I mean, it's just through the second stage. It's quite common that we see Route 66 matches go all the way to the wire, to the very last push, right inside the last stage, the truck garage, I guess it is. So that's a good sign for the Shock. I mean, if you see a defense put up that kind of effort, you're feeling very good when now it's your turn to go on attack. You know you've already kind of paved the way here to give yourself a theoretically easier time of winning the map.
You see 12 of the deaths for Zupe and Zebasai, the supports on the Mayhem. 8 of those came from Dante or Sinatra, so a lot of good targeting from the DPS players on San Francisco, able to just jump right onto those supports in the backline.
Well, yeah, I mean, Zupe's only 2 kills in that previous half were those 2 picks to open up fights for the Mayhem, which almost got them towards that last stage. So he was very quiet on the first stage, especially. Sinatra, wrap around already. He spotted Tavik. Tavik's actually trying to fire, if I'm not mistaken, there. Dante.
That was smart. So Tavik actually just sat in the corner and watched Dante and Sinatra walk on by. Tells it to the rest of his team, obviously, but then hacks Dante. So Dante's not able to do anything, just kind of leaves Sinatra there. So he's going to hack him as well. And now Sinatra can't blink. They're able to just jump right on him.
Yeah, no way of getting out of that one. Sucks when he can't blink. Must be very dry eyes for Sinatra right now. Dante being removed early in the fight. This is very good for Tavik here as well. And notice now that Tavik's had a couple of kills, but his ultimate's still around that 40% mark. Well, the Sombra actually gets, per point of damage, he gets a lot more ult charge than a lot of other heroes in this game.
Yeah, I mean, his teammates haven't really been able to take any benefit from these health packs, as they haven't really taken any damage. So that's kind of why. It's
simple. Nice Bionade there. That started the fight off beautifully for the San Francisco Shock. Zebasai almost kept the Florida Mayhem backline alive, but it was just too much coming their way. And this is what we wanted to see, a little bit of that aggression, a little bit of that lethality coming from San Francisco. Nice dive, just what they were looking for.
As that is what you would expect this team to be able to do at an extremely high level. You'd expect them to have a very good dive, especially, you have a very powerful Zenyatta player like Sleepy there in the backline, somebody who could put down a ton of damage. The Mayhem come out and challenge this Mitch. You're going to see a nano boost potentially from Zebasai on a swoosh, and then Tavik here is going to have that EMP. Do we see a Transcendence from Sleepy coming in to save everybody? There it is.
The EMP. Sleepy there as well. Actually doesn't have his shields taken away. The Transcendence, like you said, that was timed very well. Now Swoosh, though, trying to buck the trend to move Sleepy away from healing range of his teammates. Love to get the finish on this Zenyatta. Oh, he's so close. One more. He does get it, but the rest of his team getting decimated in the meantime. Perhaps not what the Mayhem were looking for at all. San Francisco got that bite to match their bark. It's what they've been looking for.
Yeah, Sleepy's sitting on the backside of Big Earls, and as soon as that EMP comes down, it's almost like a saving grace that Dante actually got hacked up on the high ground, because it gave them a really good idea of where Tavik was and where he was going to come from with the EMP. And as soon as he comes down with the EMP, Sleepy comes flying on through with Transcendence, keeping everybody alive as the Dragon Blade cleans things up in the end. Logics will go over to Widowmaker here, so interesting to pick Widowmaker in against that dive composition, but Logic's one of the better Widowmakers we see, you know, able to hit some really ridiculous shots up close.
This is actually quite a nice dive set up here. Nomi joins the rest of his team who are waiting in the lower levels of this building. And Sinatra gets a chance to drop the pulse bomb in on Swoosh. He gets Seversai as well. The Mercy passes by, but Sever was so low on HP. It's an easy pick-off for this man. Logic's smooshed against the wall. Modern art, I think Hex calls it. Sounds like the kind of thing he'd be into. And Martin's taken down. I love that. You know, the start of that fight saw Nevix and Sinatra in the bottom floor of the high side tavern. And it was Nomi that actually wrapped around. So they came from 3 different directions to start that dive.
Yeah, right. Sinatra's tearing it up right now. I mean, 30 limbs, 14 final blows, only 5 deaths on Tracer. This is the type of play, you know, the Shock expected to see. It's just once they kind of get him in line with the rest of the team, it's almost like what we talked about the Mayhem, right? Sitting around talking how they think about the game. Once they kind of get that all in sync, it'll be great. For the Shock, they'll use the sound barrier to open things up. They do get a trade here. As Swoosh falls, Nomi will fall as well. So
Very
main tanks out.
Swoosh died during a Transcendence, but he had a Discord orb on him and he was outside of the range of healing. Pulse bomb delivery. Super needs to come forward. He actually has to go towards Sinatra to avoid getting blown up, but that's just what this man wants. Easy pulse pistol pick off here. Now to chase down Logic. Sleepy found the kill. San Francisco, the final stanza, the final push towards the end of this map. It's Swoosh to drop in. Madison might have a chance to stall out himself, but he's going to have to be pretty quick. Dragon Blade already brought out here. This Diva's going to be cut down to size very quickly. Anybody needs some scrap metal? They've got it. San Francisco get it done. And they're going to make this a 5-map affair, taking it all the way to our tiebreaker.
So this is the way you want to see a debut, right? Go all the way down to 5 as Sinatra's starting to play better as the series moves on. Like I mentioned, 37 limbs, 16 final blows to finish things off. More final blows than Logix and Tavik combined.
Yeah, huge. Nevix 30 eliminations, 14 final blows. Dante 14 final blows as well. Dante, Nevix, Sinatra stepping up in a big way here. This is a tough map for those Zenyatta's to really start to rule the roost, but we're seeing Diva stand up here for the San Francisco Shock at least, and we get to go back to what we call that fundamental Overwatch map for the next map. A little bit of control to decide the fate of these two teams in this series. Will it be the Shock or will it be the Mayhem? Only one way to find out. Stick around.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
very early to swoosh. That's a huge kill to start this off.
Sleepy with the kill right off the bat.
Tavik is absolutely cleaning up.
Dante and Baby Bay are on the point right now.
Florida did not fall for that trap.
Oh, Sleepy, he was ready that time. Florida Mayhem have done it. That's a crucial team fight win for San Francisco Shock. Oh, boy.
Very much in keeping with what we were hoping for from this series. We have a map 5 now between the Florida Mayhem and the San Francisco Shock. Both teams whose fortunes haven't exactly been all that favorable during the Overwatch League, but we'd love to see them go head-to-head, Matt.
Yeah, the Shock, though, you know, they couldn't make a run in the second half of the year with a lot of these new players coming in. Baby Bay, not a new player, but he'll be coming back into the lineup here for the Shock in Game 5. You know, the map will be Ilios here as our tiebreaker. So Legion Tower was the one during Stage 1. Now Ilios here for Stage 2. You need Baby Bay in the lineup here for his Widowmaker play. If Ruins comes up, he can also play Pharah, which we've seen. You know, he's kind of been the main Pharah for this lineup. And obviously his Soldier 76 play has been lights out.
Suffice to say that his Soldier 76 is probably his most coveted sort of pick in terms of how he's brought into this roster. We've seen him on a multitude of different approaches here. And I have to say, Matt, in the previous map, Tvik, very quiet. 5 final blows of the entire map when Dante, Nevix, and Sinatra all had 3 times that each. Very quiet Tracer performance from him. Florida need him to step up.
Well, I think now you kind of put him on a map like Ilios. It allows him to play a lot of different heroes, give up that Tracer to Logix, right? Now maybe if we see Ruins, he'll have to play that Tracer yet again, but this is a map where he can play his Genji, he can play Pharah as well, so you start to see Tavik play some of his best heroes.
Well, nothing better to do than to give the Mayhem DPSs exactly what they need. Given their pocket picks now. We're going to be going to Well to start things off, so there's definitely potential for a Pharah here. Tavik might already be hinting at just that. But if the Shock bring the 76 in here, there will be a lot of pressure on Tavik and Zupe to be able to get damage done despite the hit scan on the ground.
And Baby Bay has some of the best tracking in the league. You know, every time we see on his screen, may not have the best ultimates. Sometimes popping those tack visors as soon as he gets it.
Yep.
But,
when you get him every fight, you kind of get a little bit frivolous with them.
His general tracking is just really, really nice.
Baby Bay, more than happy just to sprint straight to the front lines here. First to respond. You can see Sinatra on that left-hand side already been taking a ton of damage. You have to wait for a Harmony Orb application. Baby Bay should have spotted their Logix just trying to sneak around the back left side. He doesn't seem to be too bothered about it right now.
Yeah, playing in that close position, it's interesting because it actually forces Tavik to come down a little bit lower, like almost like how we see on Nepal, right? Where the Pharah has to come closer to the point. Kind of creates the same thing as opposed to just fighting out here in the open.
Well, yeah, I mean, on Village, there's a roof, so it's even deadlier for a Pharah. But even here, Baby Bay has clear sight lines on Vic if he wants to play on the point.
And because of like that, little kind of blue overpass there, it's kind of difficult to shoot rockets down into it. So you have to get really low, where at that point, Manitin, if he just stands, Nevik stands in the doorway, he's just eating those rockets up with his defense matrix.
Sinatra's operating on the left flank. It's like that he's trying to keep tabs on Logix and make sure that the Florida Mayhem's Tracer can't flank the Shock. But Baby Bay might be forced into a bit of a compromising position here. Yeah, he's stuck and he went for the attack anyway. That's gotta hurt. The 1-for-1, no Sinatra hoping to do one better. He throws the pulse bomb in and gets the D-suit. Swoosh going down to his hand. And San Francisco Shock, despite losing Baby Bay mid-tack, they're going to win this fight out.
Yeah, he gets Swoosh, who gets rezzed up, and then he connects with the pulse bomb on Manitin, gets him demeched. And Sinatra was playing on that left side to try and contest the point as well. Also, trying to keep, he's peppering some shots in the tanks of the Mayhem from the side. But really, it was 4 members of the Mayhem on the point. They were starting to make some progress to actually flip it. So it'll be Sleepy who takes out Logix first here.
What an opening.
And we see a lot of times, teams, it's very difficult to retake these points with the Pharah. Just get the Pharah in a position to make a play, as it's going to be Florida still sticking on it. Maybe you want to get a good use of that rocket barrage.
You kind of hate attacking into a Pharah, but if you can see the enemy Pharah coming from a mile off as they're trying to sort of take the point, you have a lot more peace of mind about setting up and knowing how to deal with that at long range. Tavik is trying to approach, obscuring his vision as much as possible, making it hard for the hit scans to see him. He'll probably drop in for a barrage in just a moment when he's on the corner. He knows it. He knows that wasn't an ideal setup for him. He's still got Nevix desuited at the very least, but now he will need to rely on the Mayhem to do the rest of the heavy lifting in this fight. Or, no, he'll do it himself. He's brought back to life. Zupe drops down. The Mayhem are in control. Not a moment too soon.
Zupe does earn himself Valkyrie here. It's only going to be one fight for the Shock to win it. And just look at the ultimates they have stacked up. They did use their sound barrier in the previous fight. Only connects with 2 members other than Moth. I believe he kind of uses it and gets pushed around the corner and doesn't connect with everybody as Bebe taking some damage here from Tvik. He's going to use the danger. He's up in the sky.
Oh, great bubble. That was so clever by Swoosh. He jumped to the high ground and put Baby inside to kind of silence by putting down his barrier. It doesn't stop Baby from finding Zebasai, but it kept Zupe alive, allow him to use the Valkyrie now. Unfortunately for the Mayhem, they're losing too much of their hitting power at the moment. I think we just saw Zupe sneak around the corner.
Oh.
What, is he trying to go for a res?
No, what happened is that's where Swoosh dies. He tries to wait and then go to get Swoosh, and it's too late, and he's not able to get the res.
Oh, that's a nightmare scenario, but Maniton's coming in, hopefully try and recover things here for the Florida Mayhem. Zebasai down, big barrage from up on high. He's found 2 and a D-suit. What a perfect response and great timing. Direct hit with Sinatra across the map. Money ain't gonna save you there, my friend.
The point will go back to the Mayhem. Man, that fight, San Francisco had everything. They had a pulse bomb, they had attack visor, they had transcendence, and they're still not able. They flipped the point back. They're just not able to hold on and put this first point away.
Pulse bomb stuck. Oh, Baby's getting pretty used to that so far in this match. Logix once again strikes true. And now, it'll be the Mayhem have a chance to fan out a little bit more here. Tvik can be doing most of the early reconnaissance. He'll know if there's a switch, but he needs to be careful.
I like this. I was just going to say, switch. So Baby switched over to Widowmaker and then back to Soldier 76. Something we see Taimu do, in the past, when he was playing in DPS, like whether it's this map or Ling Zhang, to just get an early pick on Afara and then have everybody push on in. But he goes back to Soldier.
Tvik is really hitting the money on these rockets right now. 75% towards his next barrage, and it's a sound barrier used by the Shock, realizing they're kind of bleeding out a lot of very easy damage over to the Mayhem early. But Baby connects again with Zebasai. That's such a huge pick-off, but he goes down. The Mercy, the impact now from Zupe really starting to be felt, and another barrage coming in for Tvik. This is the Pharaoh pick perhaps we were waiting for. 3 down, Nevix, Moth, Nomi, all to Tvik's hand. And his barrages have improved drastically over the course of this map. And guess what? One more fight. Sinatra being picked off early is going to be forcing it. Sleepy can't get out the door. Swoosh blocks him. Complete and utter stone-cold resolve from the main tank of the Florida Mayhem, not allowing that Zenyatta on the point.
5 barrage kills there from Tvik in the first round. And get this, 41% of overall team damage. That's insane.
That's ridiculous. And also he had about like a 1.67 barrage efficiency, so it means that per barrage, about 1.67 kills, which is very, very good. Very good. Logix with about Logix on Tracer had like 0.6 pulse bomb efficiency, so that kind of puts it in perspective for you a little bit. What a standout round. And this is the Tvik I've seen for years, but haven't seen in the Overwatch League up until now, Matt. I'll be honest, he has not really reached the same heights that he had in the past, before the league started.
You'll see Baby play Widowmaker here for the Shock. This is why you needed him on this map. Interesting, they're going to go with, you want to see him play Widow for long.
Just get slapped.
No, he'll get res right back up. So you have Moth playing Mercy, or Sleepy will be playing Sombra here, as we do see this time if you can control that mega health pack, could be huge for the team. Also, EMP built up on the point, could be deadly. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Moth, right? Because he needs to keep everybody healed up and also dodge Logix.
Oh, Logix didn't spot Baby rappelling up.
Zebo just boot Nomi off the side.
That's so big. Nomi getting a little bit too close to the edge there. That's mine triggered there. Tvik just going to add a bit of extra damage and keep Baby honest here. You can see that Baby does not want to opt into a one-on-one duel against Logix. There's respect there, or perhaps a lack of confidence. He actually found Logix on camera though, so he does get the pick. Tvik now, his job just got that much more hard on this point. Jumped on by Nomi. He was hoping for a pulse bomb, but he couldn't put enough distance between him and the Winston.
Mayhem getting close to taking the point. Nomi will try and go over towards that health pack. He gets taken out. So it'll be the Mayhem who take the point here first, which I thought there was an opportunity for the Shock to capitalize. I think Sinatra killed Swoosh and Zebosai. They weren't able to make any progress, the Shock onto the point.
Maybe they can't do anything about the point from that position up in the top left. You can barely see who's on the point itself. You can only sort of aim at whoever's standing out around it. So he drops down now.
Well, this makes him an easier target for Tvik, right? So that's kind of like the downside of it.
But did the Florida Mayhem give up this point? No, Baby taking a lot of damage. Discord orb, Tvik, does he throw a pulse bomb up there and just hope for something? Probably not. And he finds a kill, he does! That's so big, so big!
You didn't need to use the pulse bomb because there's no healer available for the Shock. Moth is using his Valkyrie and gets picked right up out of the sky there by Logic. So you know there's absolutely no chance that Baby gets a heal, right? Well, the position that Tvic's playing is that if he would have went, he would have been able to beat him towards that health pack if it was hacked. But Logix will take out Sinatra coming off spawn as his Widowmakers reign supreme thus far.
Yeah, he's looking very good. I mean, that upward trend of performance for him on that Widow is continuing as well from what we saw last week. It's only a good sign for the Florida Mayhem. The series hangs in the balance right now, and the Shock need to come up with something special to keep themselves in this one. But Baby started dead in this fight, man. Not good at all. Logix has picked him off yet again. He has definitely been the better Widowmaker so far in this map, and the Shock need to come up with something else. But no Resurrection going to be available. Sinatra delves deep into the fight and into his pockets to try and find something, and he gets Super. Logix down to Nomi, went deep with that Primal Rage. Nevix will be desuited here as the sound barrier now ticks down the Florida Mayhem. Again, have weathered the first onslaught from the San Francisco Shock. 87%. If they win this fight, it's all but done for San Francisco.
So you do have Manitin still alive. Swoosh going back, trying to get some healing. So you have Manitin just trying to contest the point here for the Mayhem. Now the reinforcements come off the spawn. We're in overtime here as the Shock will have everybody back. The Mayhem one man down.
Oh, the hit registration there, so strange. It looks like Logix actually had the shot, but Baby Bay picked him off regardless, and now SF are firing back.
Get this, I wanted to mention it before we just kind of like lose track and the game kind of keeps going off. Logix at one point had a higher crit accuracy than scoped accuracy. Right now he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit, but like 37% scoped accuracy, about 29% crit accuracy, so hitting a lot of headshots here.
That's astonishing, actually.
It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, and to have such a high crit accuracy is not easy to do. That was the EMP from Sleepy used in Florida Mayhem. Doesn't seem to be too worried about it, really. Pulse Bomb caught Baby Bay. Zebasai found Nomi. So perhaps the follow-up for San Francisco wasn't quite there, and this is now looking very dangerous for them. Manitin, Tvic, and Zebasai are on the point, and Nevix is 1v3 to keep them off now. You can see Sinatra's trying to double back and help out, but as soon as he gets there, Nevix is wiped clean from the battlefield. This might have been a critical oversight from the San Francisco Shock. They've left themselves open at such a crucial moment. Tvic is trying to chase to Sinatra off on the side. Logix finds pick on Moth here. This is the Mayhem at a huge advantage in this fight now, and Logix is looking for the final blow. Sinatra was discorded. Now it's going to be Nomi flying towards Logix, who doesn't seem to really care about the Winston. He's looking for the squishier targets. Will he find them now? Two players for the Florida Mayhem on the point. Manitin self-destruct, finds Sleepy. Sinatra down. Logix finds Nomi with a poison mine of all things. What a way to finish things off. Surely San Francisco, this is their last chance, and it's just Moth on the point. That's it. What a titanic struggle back and forth. These two teams, no quarter offered, no respect given. I would say no mercy, but we did see some of that.
And Logix takes Moth out at the beginning of the last fight. The only true healer on the side of the San Francisco Shock. The Mayhem know that they have to keep going back for that mega health pack over and over again. They're just not able to keep themselves alive. They just kind of camped that side of the map while overtime was going on. The Mayhem are able to come out on top.
Logix continuing to stun us with his Widowmaker performances. Tvic, with, in my opinion, the most standout singular round performance of his career in the Overwatch League on that Pharah, on Ilios. That's how you paved the way to a big win for your team. And for the San Francisco Shock, again, signs of greatness. As we saw last week, unfortunately, they're not going to be taking the honors away today.
So you did see Sinatra, though, play pretty well in his debut. You expect the Shock to just get better. It'll be the Mayhem that come out victorious today. We'll hear from the desk about it after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
welcome back, everyone. This is Zoe again, and I'm now joined by Manitin from the Florida Mayhem. Congratulations to that victory. Now let's talk a bit about the game. We saw a new face on the stage with Sinatra. Did this new addition to the Shock somewhat force you to maybe adjust your game plan coming into this?
I mean, Sinatra is a very aggressive, high playmaker player. So as a team, we didn't really change much. But as a Diva player, I tried to look out more for his like triple blink bombs, because he's very mechanically skilled. So anytime he can just throw a pulse bomb and hit it. So try to pay more attention to where he is.
Seemed to work out great for you guys. Now, looking back on the whole stage, this is the last week. Did your team and you yourself meet the expectations you set yourself for stage 2?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we obviously hoped to win the Gladiators game as well. It was very rough. The Outlaws game was reverse sweep as well. So, but we just worked on our fundamentals, our communication, and so far it's paying off.
All right, well, we can't wait to see more of you guys on this stage. Thank you so much for joining me. Now we're heading over to the desk to break down the action.
Blizzard Arena, one more time, make some noise for the Florida Mayhem on the up and up. This time they get a win in Game 5. Welcome back, everybody, to the desk. I'm Puckett here to wrap things up. I got the crew. It's Crumbs, it's Reinforced, and we got a lot to talk about. 3 games, so we're gonna go quick, and it starts with Kings Row. This one, you said the Zarya could come out from Sinatra. It did, but the Shock don't get the win. The Mayhem, they didn't swap in Zappis. They keep Logics in the mix, and they get a victory in a Game 3 today.
Yeah, but actually, even despite, we just saw Zarya for a little bit, but it was a flexing game. A sick pulse bomb coming in, by the way. We saw that Tvik played 5 heroes, Logics played 4 heroes, Sinatra and Nomi played 3 heroes each. So this was a really entertaining Kings Row, in my opinion, because we saw so many adaptations coming out all the time. We saw the Junkrat, the Zarya, the Widowmaker, the Reaper, the McCree, all of these heroes, and it made for a really fun game, in my opinion.
And I love the Dante tires. You see the Transcendence? That doesn't stop a tire, buddy.
Too much damage on those. So yeah, we figured that Dante's DPS, his Junkrat's gonna be very powerful. He's been flexing so much that he's basically made himself a sure addition to the squad that is likely to be subbed out a lot less.
Absolutely. And while that game was playing out, Crumbs, we're looking over at Johnny and I, and he said, yo, guys, do you see that from Florida? I said, what? And you're like, they're dive. What are you showing us here? What was Florida doing right in this game?
So we got a Telestrator segment here to highlight the dive composition, and a lot of times you see this defense coming out. So the San Francisco have a standard high ground dive, and you have the Orisa and the Junkrat. So the last thing you want to do is have everybody from the Florida Mayhem go in here and try to just jump them and try to get kills. It's not going to happen. There's Diva, there's Matrix, so this is a big no-no. You just don't do that. So
there's a lot of things.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. So instead, what the Florida Mayhem are going to do, they're going to go with a 3-pronged attack, and this is going to be 6. So you're going to see Tvik take this route to try to come from this angle. Then you've got Logics, goes on the high ground, waits for this one, and then the tanks from here are going to attack at the same time here right in the middle. And so when we get to play it out, we're actually going to see exactly how the Florida Mayhem do this. They're waiting for their healers to hit the tanks, make sure that they're full HP. Logic's waiting patiently, see that nobody's taking any damage. And so what Florida now is doing, they get in position, wait for Logic's to go, and bam, immediately 3 directions, 3 angles of attack, and a very successful dive.
Yeah, no one's looking at Tvik here.
Absolutely. Very well executed dive. It takes a lot of time to set up that correctly, and that is perhaps the bad thing about it. You don't build any ultimates for like 45 seconds. A lot of the attack timer goes out unless you do it successfully. But I like anyway how they set up that dive. It was really interesting because we've seen in the past Dallas Fuel. I mean, they played Bastion trying to get up there.
Yeah.
Even the Korean teams we've seen play Reinhardt and speed boost across, of course. So very well executed dive.
And you need your Genji to live because that dash through all 6 players, brutal damage is being dealt with that single shift. All right, so that was some key plays on the attack for Florida, but let's talk about their defense because that's where they won the game. And it's one guy who we could probably credit the whole game to. It's Manitin. You had the grab loaded up. Sinatra ready to just seal the deal for the Shock. Manitin coming off spawn. You heard Mr. X mentioning it. Just flicks that perfect timing, stops that grab, and keeps his team in the game.
It's great that they realized what was going on. Sinatra hiding in there, but you also got to see Tvik, actually, I think it was Tvik or Logics on the Reaper, go on Zarya, so they knew what was going on and immediately said, let's just go into it, because he basically went full-on defense matrix into there. Nothing's coming out.
You have to think, if they don't get that, if the grab lands and you see the rest of the Shock pushing forward, is this series over? Because the Shock win game number 4, and that's where we're going next. It's Route 66, and as we were watching this map play out, once again, I was watching what Sinatra was going to do. Moth, love seeing this guy's Ana. He was playing all kinds of healers, but talk to me about Dante, because we saw him off and on throughout this series. In the future, should we only expect to see him on Junkrat and Sombra? Where's his strength at right now?
Well, we talked about the Genji, of course, but Sombra is arguably his best hero. I've talked about this the past week, of course, and now we see on the live patch where Sombra is a lot better, where it has more power, of course, when it comes to a primary weapon. Sombra is a force to be reckoned with, and Dante is arguably one of the best Sombra players in the league. So I could very well see Dante getting subbed in quite a lot for the Shock moving forward in case they need a Sombra player, because it is one of his specialties. And of course, here we see the Genji coming out as well to finish the game.
And the Sombra gets really nasty, as we saw in Volskaya, when you just, instead of going for the Zenyatta all the time, you hack the D.Va, as we were talking before. And D.Va is such a crucial part for, as you hear Manatee saying, he's trying to stop Sinatraa from making those plays. If the D.Va is not there to offer that defense, she's like the linebacker, then nothing's going to happen.
All right.
Or actually, plays are going to happen. My bad. Messed that up.
I was just going to keep going, and that's what we're doing right now, because we've got one more game and 2 minutes to get through it. It's Ilios, Game 5. If you look back to the first control point, it was all Shock. They steamrolled over to Florida after that second heat. This time around, we're playing on Ilios, and Florida walks away with the victory. What was the difference when you compare Game 2 to Game 5?
Well, it was the aggression coming out, I think, because sure, Florida Mayhem, they're playing the Pharah, and so you expect the baby-based soldier, of course, to be the difference maker, killing Tvik and, of course, applying a lot of pressure. But instead, because Swoosh and Manhattan are playing so aggressive on these tanks, Baby Bay, he doesn't necessarily get a lot of room on that soldier in the first place to be able to deal with Tvik. So I think it was impressive tank play coming out of Florida to win that round.
Tank play, I love Tvik on the Tracer. I asked you, how good is this Tracer? You said, it's up there.
Yeah.
I think we still have to remember that the Shock is a really new team with all these additions, so it's going to look rough in the beginning. Like, this is actually the first game where these guys are playing on stage, so they have a long ways to go, and it looks really good.
Absolutely. Stage 3 adds Super into the mix as well. If you're a Shock fan, just wait for that moment as we have a new tank in the mix. For now, though, we have to crown our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Who is our player of the match, boys?
It's actually Swoosh.
Go with the tank.
Talk to us about him. You love this guy, right?
Absolutely. I love this guy. I think that this guy has stepped up his play phenomenally the past few weeks, because I've said it multiple times now. He used to be pretty passive, and they used to pressure out the enemy tanks quite a lot. But this time around, they're playing more aggressive. They apply a lot of pressure to the enemy backline. And so I think that with the addition of Ryder as their new coach, of course, I think that Swoosh has upped his game, perhaps been given some instructions for the coaching staff, and it's paying off for sure.
Two of the biggest highlights you may have seen in the general highlights earlier were Baby Bay, Tac Visor, completely shut down by Swoosh's bubble. Very end of that first heat of Ilios, you had the Zenyatta ready to go to the point, Swoosh just body blocking him in the doorway. It's not always about kills, it's about positioning and using your kit. He did a great job throughout this entire series. Florida gets the win today, and they do it in front of Tvik's family, who came over for Europe. Big day for the Mayhem, but we still have one more match to go. When we return, we got the Shanghai Dragons and their fresh faces taking on the Houston Outlaws. Will today be the day? We'll find out after this.